All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Hyan Fiver, and welcome to 2.5 Gamers. We are joined today by colorful co-hosts NBZ and Fizzy Stardust. How are
That's
you guys doing
racist.
today?
That's a racist comment.
Just because I'm Indian. Fuck.
Wow, that's not that kind of colorful. You.
Wow.
Okay.
Anyways,
Great start. What a great start today.
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
I'm doing okay. It's okay because I'm not the one who's woken up like an hour ago, unlike these two. So
It's an hour and a half now.
Yeah.
okay,
Nick.
it's not too bad. All right. I didn't realize we took so long getting off the ground, but there we go.
But yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about a few things. It's been a little while since we last convened and spoke about video games and video game news. We're going to talk about today. We've got a few topics coming out of Nintendo. MVZ is like mangasming over Super Smash Bros. PS3, so we got to talk about that a little bit. Some news coming out of EA and Assassin's Creed is being sued, as well as some really cool stuff coming out from Crytek about the PS3 and the 360. But, as always, we're going to have to start talking about what we played over the last 2 weeks. I'm going to let you guys start because you can decide for yourselves. I've played a shit ton, and we'll just start with you guys. Pick whoever goes first.
Not it.
All right.
As always, okay. So I didn't play a significant amount. I played some good stuff, but nothing in huge volumes, I guess. I was at home last weekend, so I did get some PS3 contact, which was nice. And what I was mainly doing was I started Infamous, I guess, just before that, but I did pick that up. Obviously, I said about it on the last show, and I played it. I've done about 3 or 4 hours of the game now, and it is a game that I can see myself playing for hours and hours and hours on end, like without getting bored.
Confirming that statement.
Exactly, it is. Fizz has also played it this week. He was just
Yeah.
playing it before we started, and he's obviously you got it in the when the PSN went down. You got it in the bundle pack afterwards, right?
That's
Yeah,
when
I
got
made
it,
Sony
too.
my pitch, and I was like,
Yeah.
Sony, give me free games, and they did.
They
So.
did put up some really good games on offer for that thing, and they
Kind of, sort of, and not really. They put up older games that were having sequels being released.
Yeah.
shortly after.
but they were helping out their hype train.
Infamous, Little Big Planet, and then like 5 other really shitty games I've never.
Yeah, they're indie games from essentially just PSN.
Yeah.
They're kind of building their hype train for the sequels to those 2 games, and also being like, hey, these are really fucking good games. If you don't have them, here they are, which is nice. But yeah, Infamous is fantastic. It's basically an open world game where you play as this character called Cole, who at the start of the game he is like in this wreckage of like explosions and shit, and somehow he's acquired superpowers. You're not really too sure how he's got them, but he has like these electrical superpowers. He can shoot electricity out his hands, which is sort of the main form of combat in the game. It's basically a third-person shooter, but it has a twist on it in that it's an open-world game. The shooting is based around sort of supernatural, superhero kind of things, and there are lots and lots of stuff that you can unlock. It's an experience-based system, so all the enemies you defeat give you experience, and so you can go and equip your arsenal as you go along by adding things like there's a jet sort of hover kind of thing you can do in the air, so you can hover around. There's like grenades which explode and stuff, and there's lots of things that you can unlock to make Cole more powerful. But I wouldn't say that the story is that enticing. It's not too compelling. A lot of the cutscenes are told through this kind of comic book style, which is kind of cool. It does make it. It does make it. Okay, apparently we're lagging.
No, just you.
Yeah. You're fine. Just go.
Okay, I don't know
just
why.
Finish up so we can move on and you can fix your stuff.
Yes. Okay. So that's basically what the idea is. You're going around as this Cole guy and you're shooting people in the face, and it's a lot of fun. And I lost my thought track completely. So while we're on the topic of Infamous, I'll jump over to Fizz and you can give me your thoughts on it right now while I kind of fix some stuff.
All right. So pretty much you covered just about everything. I love the cutscene comic booky style. One thing you did forget to mention is the karma-based system, where you can, you could either choose to be like take a good path or an evil path, and the evil path is still like a good path. Like you're still doing good things, but it's like how you go about them. Like I remember one particular one, you're like in the sewer, and this guy like won't let you through, and you have the option to either like tell him the truth about like what he's doing is stupid, or you have the choice to just like electrify him and then just go through him and not deal with it at all. So I mean like this, I feel like the end result is still the same. It's just about how you get to it. It's like kind of open worldy, kind of like Spider-Man. Like you're gonna be on rooftops and stuff, except there's no web slinging. Like I remember like one point I actually like pressed the trigger button expecting web to come out of my hand. But yeah, it's actually really awesome. It's been hard to put down. The only time I'm not really thinking about it is if like I'm not even at my house. So that's my issue. Is like it's really good. I can't wait to just like have like a good day off and sit down and play through it.
Yeah. Okay. How do I sound right now? Is that better?
Well, apparently Mike was lagging a little bit too. I'm reading the chat.
Okay.
So it's probably just the stream that's lagging. So
Yeah, it's the
Maybe
stream.
it's just a stream. Okay, fine. Well, basically, yes, I agree very much with what you're saying. The karma system's cool, and the thing that really grabs me about the game is how much extra stuff there is around the city. And I'm going to find it really tough to just go through the main story because, for one thing, the side missions are kind of similar to the story missions in a way. Like, the side missions are scattered literally everywhere, and you will have a tough time trying to get to one place and not doing anything else or having nothing else distract you on the way there. Essentially, the way that you attack and use your moves is judged by this meter on the top, which is like filled with electricity. And there are lots of points around the city, like lampposts and cars and generators that you can basically absorb electricity from those areas, and it kind of acts as your health meter. If you're really low on health, you get lots of electricity, and it kind of gives you that quick boost and gets you right back up there. So that's pretty cool. And basically, the way that you extend this meter is you find these things. I can't even remember what the hell they're called now. Blast shards, that's it. You find blast shards around the city, and they are just littered everywhere. They're on the side of buildings, like underneath areas, on top of buildings, and you'll just see one out of the corner of your eye. You'll be like, okay, stop what I'm doing, I need to go grab that right now, otherwise I'll miss it. So you keep doing that. There are also these things called dead drops, which are like radio signals on the top of a building, and they kind of fill in kind of a backstory as well. You get lots of audio files from them, sort of like the stuff in Arkham Asylum. You get the audio diaries, which fill in sort of history of the inmates at the asylum. It's kind of like that, just a bit of backstory stuff. But every time you see a radio signal thing, you're going to go up there and you're like, oh, that's a dead drop, got to get that right now. So those are the two main sort of collectibles you'll be going around. But also side missions everywhere. There are good side missions, there are bad side missions, there are side missions that kind of go in between and don't really change what karma you're going for, sort of neutral ones. But you will never find yourself going straight for a story mission and getting there when you intend to, because you'll go there, find some dead drops along the way, then you'll go off in some other direction, chasing after a blast shard, find a side mission, do the side mission, find another side mission, do that, and then by that time you're like 2 hours in and you haven't got to the story mission that you were supposed to get to. So that's what I love about it. It has so much scope, and it feels like it's going to last me a long, long time. So I'm very excited about playing more of that when I go back.
I've never
after my
been
exams
one
are done.
for like side missions and doing like side quests and stuff like that, but I'm finding myself doing every one I come across. But I
agree.
I think the way they went about it is good, because like when you do like a side quest or a side mission, when you complete it, you clean up the crime in that area, and there's like the general bad guy, the Reavers. They're just like everywhere in the city, and they shoot you out of nowhere. So when you do like a quest, you block out an area, and there's no more crime there, so you can just like roam freely and not get shot, which is like Oh, thank God. Because like
Yeah,
in the beginning of the game, no matter where you go, you're getting shot at. It felt like for
yeah.
me.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of tough. They kind of throw you at the deep end at the start of the game, mostly because the Reapers are pretty powerful to begin with. They have good aim with their bullets and stuff, and they can hit you from pretty far away. A lot of the times you'll be hit from someone, you'll be thinking, where the fuck did that come from? Like, you won't know, because can be on a building miles away and they'll be able to hit you. So that's pretty tough. There's lots of long range shooting you'll be doing just across buildings a lot of the time. But I do agree, yes, that's very nice when you do specific side missions. That's a lot of the sort of emphasis on why you would want to do the side missions is to clear the area up and so that you can roam around it freely and kind of not be afraid of Reapers cropping up every 2 seconds and ruining just, whatever the hell you're doing. Like if you're just looking for blast shards around the area and you keep getting attacked by people, it just gets a bit annoying. So it's good that you're able to clear stuff out, which is very nice.
Indeed.
So
what else?
That's pretty
have
much
you been playing anything else?
I've done a few things. So I got what is perhaps one of the best deals I've ever had on any game ever in the history of ever. So Mirror's Edge is a game that I've been interested in for a while. It was a very, very sort of groundbreaking game when it came out. It still is very weird, and it's something that I don't know. It's very ethereal. Ethereal? I don't even know if that makes sense in this context. It's an idea that I didn't think video games would come to in a sense. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. But that's besides the point. Basically, I wanted to play Mirror's Edge. And I think a couple of months ago, I found it in a store. And it was £1.98. That's less than £2. And I was like, oh, dude, I'm picking this up right now. So I go to the guy and I give it to him, and he's like, okay, I can't find it here, let me go look back in the store. And he comes back and he's like, sorry, looks like people stole the copies. I'm like, are you serious? Like, someone stole a £2 game? Really? Why? Like, if you're gonna steal something, at least steal something of worth, like of value. But no, people, apparently all 3 had been stolen. A £2 game. What? So I was pretty shocked. I was pissed at that point. And I saw it a couple of times for £5, and I was like, dude, I can get this for £2. And finally, I found it again in HMV. I found it for £2. And I was like, yes, please have this in stock. And they did. So I bought it, and I started playing it. And it's a really, really bright game. So bright to the point at which I paused the game and I went out to pick up my sister from school, and I came back and there was a little bit of TV burn. Like, it had burned the pause screen into my television. I got pretty scared. I think it's gone away now, but it's so unbelievably bright. The white colors and the red colors just stand out so starkly on the screen. And what the essential premise of the gameplay is that you are this person called a runner, and you essentially deliver these packages between people in a city that's kind of sort of Big Brother locked, as it were. There's cameras everywhere and stuff, and the government's doing crazy shit, and people are on lockdown, and there's just bad stuff's happened. The world has gone to shit, essentially. But it is a very, very bright game. And a lot of what the gameplay is running and jumping, and basically escaping, as it were.
Parkour.
There is a combat. It's parkour. That's what it is. That's exactly the word that you need to call it, because it is a parkour game. That's what it is. You jump around buildings, you climb things, you jump off buildings, you roll, you just hang on to ledges and climb, and that's essentially how you describe it. It's the problems I have with it, mainly to do with the combat system, because they did introduce a combat system into it. Basically, you can punch people in the face. It feels very weird. Just the way that your character moves is not really sluggish, I wouldn't say, but not very intuitive. And the gunplay isn't particularly fleshed out. For one thing, if you do manage to get a gun, the bullets run out very quickly because there won't be a lot in them, and once they do run out, your character will just throw the gun away, so they won't be using it for a long period of time. And secondly, getting a gun in the first place is really difficult. You can either sneak up behind someone and do a move on them to take it off them, or you can enter slow-mo mode, which allows you to sort of see them like moving the gun slowly towards you, and you basically tap triangle at the precise moment to get it, so that you can sort of flick it out of their hands and then sort of force it back on them and shoot them down with their own weapon. But as I said, combat really isn't the main focus here. It is a lot to do with running, jumping, sliding down things, and it's a lot of fun. Like, I've gone through the first 2 chapters, and it's difficult at times. You'll be restarting things quite a lot. You won't know what to do. You won't know quite how much you need to jump and the distance and everything. It's very, very difficult to gauge. So I'm having fun with it, though, and it is pretty good. I'm not sure if either of you have had any experience with Mirror's Edge.
I avoided it for a really long time because I would either hear really good things or really bad things, and that usually means the game's bad. If I saw it for £1.98, I'd probably pick it up too.
$3.
Yeah,
yes.
I'd pick it up for $3. I mean, sure, why not? It's something I have been wanting to play. One question I'd ask you though, is it a good game, or is it a good game for that price?
Yeah, I think that it's a game or an experience that you should experience, simply because it is so abstract and it's just so different from the games that people make these days. It's just beyond what most games do, and what its intention is very different. So I would definitely recommend, if you find it cheap, just go for it. I wouldn't recommend paying full price for it. I've heard it is a relatively short game, and there are problems with the controls. It can get a bit finicky at times. Another problem I have with it is it kind of throws shit at you really quickly. It teaches you the base mechanics in the training mode, and it kind of finishes in like about 5 minutes, and they tell you basically everything about the game, how to slide under, how to do taking weapons off people. It goes past a bit too quickly for my liking, so that's a little bit of a problem. But otherwise, I would say that you should definitely try it. It's a lot of fun. I've been having some fun with it, so
right on.
Yeah. It's good.
I played the game when it came out. My ex-girlfriend, who I was living at the time, her brothers rented it. It wasn't anything that really excited me. I didn't think it was bad, but it wasn't really my sort of game, so I didn't really get into it.
Mm-hmm.
It was, like you say, it's different, so in that sense, yeah, it's kind of cool, but again, so not my cup of tea.
I would have liked it if they'd kind of removed the combat mechanics a bit, sort of stripped that down instead, not focus so much. There's a lot of situations you'll find yourself in where you have to take out an enemy, which can get very frustrating because the combat's just really difficult to pull off, so that you'll be stuck on this section for ages and ages and you won't be able to get past it. That will, I guess, piss a lot of people off. But I think that if they did do a sequel, they would definitely be able to address a lot of these problems. I heard some things about them doing a sequel. I think last year they made some mention of maybe there being a Mirror's Edge 2 at some point. And if they do address those problems, I think that they can make a really fantastic game with the second one. Because it's a really neat idea, and it is a lot of fun. It's something where the gameplay is definitely the forefront. The story, again, isn't very interesting. Kind of similar to Infamous. I'd say Infamous had a more interesting story than this, but I just didn't really care too much for it at all. It's all about the gameplay for this game. So that's pretty much Mirror's Edge for you, I guess. And
hardcore
parkour, indeed. So yeah, that's that. I think the final thing that I want to touch on is a DS game, which I said to Ferris was known as Kirby's Mass Effect, which was a slight slip of the tongue, because it was in fact Kirby's Mass Attack on the DS. Kirby's Mass Effect would be an interesting game, I must say. You could put Kirby in the Mass Effect universe. I think he'd fit in quite nicely, to be honest, but there you go. This is another Kirby game which doesn't revolve around the similar sort of things that Kirby usually does. It's like an offshoot. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't like the normal Kirby games. I only like the offshoots just because they're generally better games than the normal ones are. The prime example of that being Canvas Curse, which was released quite a long time ago, one of the first true great games on the DS. Canvas Curse was a fantastic game. But this is kind of similar to that. You are controlling a lot of Kirby's at once. It's kind of like Pikmin, where you build up a number, like a sort of mini army. And the idea is that one Kirby alone isn't very powerful, and a lot together are. So you'll basically build up this army as you go along the levels. Everything is touch-based control, which is both a blessing and a curse, mainly because it's very fluid, but also because a lot of the time the Kirbys won't do what you want them to do. You have to flick them individually, and so you'll be doing lots of repetitive motions trying to get them all into one place at once. It kind of has a bit of a finickiness to it there. But it's a lot more challenging than your sort of traditional Kirby game is. It's, I guess, the most frustrating part for me was that there weren't any checkpoints in it. I don't know why the fuck they did that, but Kirby games have levels which vary in length a lot. They can have levels which go on for like 15 minutes, which isn't really the standard platform affair. And if you die and you have to start all over again, that kind of pisses me off. So that wasn't very nice. But otherwise, it is a very fun game. I'm like at World 3 at this point, so I'm going through it at a decent rate, I guess. But yeah, controls are a bit finicky. I would recommend having a look on YouTube, just looking at some videos to get more of an idea about it, because it's kind of difficult to describe. But it's definitely a very fun game. I'd say the most interesting thing about it is it has a bunch of mini games which are actually pretty legit. There's one mini game which functions like a Gradius type like shooter, like vertical shooter with Kirby's. It's pretty nuts, that section, because it's like a full-fledged kind of Gradius sort of game with like 7 or 8 levels to it, and I spent like half an hour on this one game, which was a mini game as part of like this collection, which is pretty damn cool. So yeah, that was pretty awesome that they have mini games so fleshed out. But yeah, the main game's pretty fun as well, and I guess I'll probably finish it up by next time. So that'll be that. Unfortunately, I haven't finished any games this week, so I'm going to end my run of having completed a game for every episode. Sad times, but alas.
Loser.
Loser. Anyway, that's it for me this week. So there you go.
What about
Alright.
you, Mike? Did you play anything else?
I did. I played a few things. So we talked about Infamous, so I'm not gonna go over that again because MBZ covered most of it, and I already talked about it a little bit as well. I picked up. I think I talked about it before in the podcast. WWE 12.
Yes, you talked.
Yeah,
about
I talked
that
about it
last
before.
week or the week before.
I actually picked it up because I had a coupon for like $20 off, and I was like, I wanted the game, but I didn't want to spend full price. So I ended up paying like $20 for it, which, I'm fine with. So I've been playing that a lot. It's been getting better and better as I go along. And I also picked up another game on the cheap because I'm a total bargain bin gamer. I got NBA 2K11. So I'm running last year's model, baby. And that seemed like a pretty cool game. But it's pretty much like every other 2K like game, like any other 2K sports game. There's a my player mode with like experience, which is cool, which I'm really into, and just your standard run of the mill basketball game. It's actually one of the better basketball games I've ever played. But other than that, nothing all that exciting, groundbreaking. Just older games and stuff I already talked about.
So that's it for you.
That's it for me, I believe.
Well, I
Go on,
played
sir.
a clusterfuck of things this past 2 weeks, mainly because last weekend there was a number of open betas. There's no audio. Oh, you went offline, eh?
I think I did, yeah.
Yep.
I'll just wait for you to come back on.
Crap.
It says you're live again, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Let me just pause and start again. It's back according to
Yep.
Okay.
It
55
is.
Wildcat. So I'll go
Alright.
into what I was saying. Last weekend there were a number of open betas that came out, including Diablo 3 and Terra Online, and I got a chance to play both of those. Diablo 3 was absolutely fantastic. That is a game that I am definitely picking up, even though I am freaking broke. I'm gonna make $60 for that game. My only concern with that game was that the beta was a demo. It wasn't a true beta. It was my friends and I played through it in about an hour. I actually footage of that going up on my channel. It's coming out in 4 parts. So again, it's really a short beta, but it was a lot of fun. You got to be able to play it over and over again. So I did get to try out almost every class. I certainly got to play every class that I wanted to play. So the monk was really fun. The barbarian, which was one of my favorite classes in Diablo 2, is really freaking cool. Early on, you just kind of one-shot everything, and then things kind of get a little difficult. It was actually a little difficult when you played on your own, which is what Diablo 3 said they were going to do. They didn't want to make it too easy, because Diablo 2 kind of was, and I do enjoy their leveling and skill system as compared to Diablo 2 in the sense that there's no skill trees anymore. You unlock things at certain levels. You can only have 4 active spells, and then you have a left click and a right click ability. So I do like the way they set that up. As far as Terra goes, I played it for a little bit. I streamed it for about an hour, I think. It wasn't the greatest game out there, which is a little unfortunate, because I actually was, but haven't gotten a chance to play it. I don't think it's a game that I will personally buy. Not that it was a bad game. I didn't pick the best classes. I tried out a few things off screen, and the game was better with not the classes I played. I tried the Berserker to start off with, and it was a very clunky class. It was, granted, I was this little panda beaver thing, and the axe that I was wielding was 3 times my size. So it makes sense that it's a little bit clunky, but I don't know. I think the game will be successful in its own right, but I don't think it'll be as popular as Guild Wars or Star Wars: The Old Republic, or even World of Warcraft at this point, for that matter. I think it's a very, and I'm going to use this term loosely, but it's a very Korean game, and I say that in the sense that it is a free-to-play game in Korea, and any game that's free-to-play in Korea is very grindy. You will be doing very repetitive gameplay over and over and over, and in that sense, a lot of people aren't going to like it. It does have some interesting mechanics. The active battle combat is kind of cool, and I certainly think that their political system that they have implemented could be really interesting. But I don't know. Like I said, it's not a game that I'm going to play. Other things that I played, I finished off Radiant Historia last week. It was, I think I put in about 22 hours to beat the game, but I didn't unlock everything. There are certain, but it's. I mentioned that last podcast. So I'm not going to go too into it, but it is certainly a great game. Ironically, right after we did the podcast, I got an email from Amazon, and the deal of the week was for Radiant Historia, and it was like $10.
Oh man.
There's just like fate kind of dropping bombs there, but the other thing I played, and I was super excited for this, and I bought this game back at the Christmas sale on Steam, but I didn't play it because I knew this was going to happen. But the Enhanced Edition for The Witcher 2 came out, and I jumped all over that. It is fantastic. That is hands down the greatest straight-up PC RPG that I have ever played. I mean, obviously now it's on Xbox 360, and I don't know how it looks on 360, but if you have a good computer, you play that at even a decent setting, the game looks absolutely phenomenal. The story is incredible. The characters are very well done, and the combat it's very fulfilling. It's it's interesting in the sense that you have two swords. One is a silver sword that you use on monsters, and then you have a regular sword that you use on people. And if you're using the wrong sword on the wrong person, you're actually going to do very little damage. And so there's actually some sort of skill involved. And the game is actually rather difficult. And I played a bit of it when the game first came out, and I was really excited about it. But then, of course, I heard about the free upgrade to the Enhanced Edition. So I said, I'll just wait because the game is going to get new content, upgraded graphics, and all sorts of these amazing stuff. And if you have not picked it up, I'm telling you, go out and buy it. It is fantastic. I don't think it costs any more than $40 on Steam. I think that the 360 release is going to be $40 to $60 because it is a new title for them. But hands down, beautiful game to pick up. I don't think if you enjoy RPGs that you can actually dislike the game, especially if you're a PC gamer. It is hands down the greatest PC RPG ever played.
That's pretty damn high praise, I have to say. I've heard lots and lots of good things about The Witcher 2.
For a game that came out before Skyrim, it looked infinitely better than Skyrim when Skyrim came out, and then the Enhanced Edition just took it to the next level. That game is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I'm of the perspective that I really don't think Skyrim looked that good, to be perfectly honest.
I think graphics, it does look good. The people, not so much, but the environments are very well done. The thing that The Witcher does over them is not only are their environments really beautiful, but the actual people are as well, and you went offline.
Okay.
I was trying to bring it up sneakily.
So, yes, there we go.
That's all I played this week. Last 2 weeks. But, I mean, obviously my typical stuff I played. Actually, no, I did play one other thing. It's a new game on Steam, and it is a free-to-play game called Super Monday Night Combat, and it is very similar to Team Fortress 2 in the sense that it's a shooter without taking itself seriously, but it also has a lot of aspects to the typical, Dota 2, League of Legends type of game style where there is a base and your job is to actually go and destroy the base. But there are a bunch of different character types and they all have these ridiculous skills, and it's just a lot of insanity and a lot of fun. And my friend and I downloaded that the other day, and it's fun. It's certainly not something that I will pour my soul into. It's kind of a casual jump in, play a few matches type of thing, because the matches are only about 10 minutes or so. A longer match can take up to 20 minutes, so that's nothing for a lot of people who play those types of games. But the insanity that just comes from playing that game is a lot of fun. It actually looks really nice. It's got similar to Team Fortress 2 graphics, but they're a little bit better. And what I really like is when you're in the game, there's actual commentators, and if you're playing with friends, they don't all hear the same thing. If you're doing really badly, the commentators will make a reference to you feeding and how you can stop that. So basically, the game is telling you you're terrible, and it's really funny. And some of the things they say just don't make any sense whatsoever, so you just have to laugh. But it's that is a game that if you just want to look at a game to just pick up and try, it's a free game. I would say go ahead. It's not going to take a huge toll on your computer. And if you enjoy any sort of third-person shooter, you're probably going to enjoy it. And again, it's a game that doesn't take itself seriously. So
those are the best kind of games.
Yeah, I think that's a game that seriously and do well just by the nature of it all. I mean, one of the characters, you're a giant gorilla.
Yes.
And you essentially have this like rocket launcher thing. I mean, how can you take yourself seriously when you're a rocket launcher wielding gorilla?
I don't take anything else more seriously than a rocket launcher holding a gorilla holding a rocket launcher even.
A rocket launcher holding a gorilla.
That's worse. Okay.
That sharks
laser
more seriously
than that. Goodness sake.
Send your fan art of rocket things holding gorillas to Fizzy Stardust. at YouTube.
Yeah, holy god. Could you imagine? Like,
I
a
can't
rocket
imagine.
launcher launching gorillas at you.
Holy shit.
That's the scariest thing in the world.
Dude, yes.
The brain
That'd
of
be
Fizzy
crazy.
Stardust.
Indeed.
I'm gonna write that movie.
Well, we will
Planet
enjoy
Planet
it.
of the Apes 7.
The rocket gorilla dilemma. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. I think that is that wraps us up, doesn't it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Indeed. So, yes.
Harold Newsmar time.
All right.
Harold Newsmar.
I'm gonna let you start off, Zed, because you know a bit about the Nintendo Direct conference. Let's kind of talk about Nintendo first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you know what's going on from the Direct conference. So go ahead and start off.
Okay, so there was the Nintendo Direct conference, which took place first in Japan and then in Europe. For some reason, America didn't get one. I guess Reggie was like, fuck everyone, we don't need one. I'm Reggie, I do what I like. So he was like, whatever. So Japan and Europe both got one. Nothing too major in general. I think a few release dates were dropped, just a bit more info about specific games coming out. Mario Tennis, the 3DS game, is slated for launch, I think, at the end of May in all three territories. So that's pretty cool. I'm not sure if I'm going to pick up Mario Tennis. I know lots of people are interested in the game, but it seems pretty fun. The only problem I feel is that it's not kind of going with the same RPG elements as the traditional handheld Mario Tennis usually does, which is a little bit of a shame. It's more sort of tailored to the console experience, but it's still pretty cool. Fizz, you any intentions of picking up Mario Tennis and 3DS?
I have the intentions to pick it up, but I probably won't.
Yeah.
The reason being, though, it's not because I think it's gonna be bad or anything. I think it's gonna be awesome. I don't care. I love Mario Tennis. It's like a godsend. But I'm actually saving up for a big trip, so my game budget is non-existent right now. So
If by a big trip you mean nationals.
I do mean nationals.
It'll be fun.
It will be. It's gonna be crazy Pokemon cards and games and meeting a whole bunch of people from the internet. It's gonna be great.
Sheikah, man.
Sheikah, yeah.
How have you not met Sheikah yet? He doesn't seem to live that far from you.
He lives like 12 hours away.
It's not that far.
That's
not too far.
Far enough.
To be fair, it only takes me about 8 hours to drive to Indianapolis. Everybody's telling me to go to nationals too.
How far? How long?
It'll take me about 8 hours if I drive.
So that's nothing. Just go.
Yeah, I live just over an hour away from Detroit, so.
Zebra's he's driving from Texas, so he
thought it was a closer drive for him than for me.
Idiot. His drive is 17 hours.
Yeah, it's like you live in Texas. You're at the bottom of the states.
Yeah. But anyway, so with that being a part of my thing, I got to pay for a flight and a hotel and food and all that stuff. And so.
Oh well. I'm not really intending to pick it up, to be perfectly honest. I enjoy Mario Tennis games. Like my friend was really the one who plays all the Mario sports games. On the N64 he had golf and tennis, everything. He had all the GameCube ones as well, and I never actually owned any of the sports games because I really didn't care that much for them. But I did have fun with them. They're good, solid games. They'll make Nintendo a nice profit, I'm sure of that, but nothing that I'm really going to be snapping up unless it hits the bargain bin about sometimes. So,
but it won't, because it's got Mario in the title.
Exactly, it's got Mario in the title. It will at the most drop down to like £25 or like 40 or $35 or however much monies that is in American land. But
$35
in real kid money.
$35, yeah, in real money. I get paid in that money, so what do I know? Yeah, so that's that. Other than that, I don't think there was too much significant. There was no mention of Luigi's Mansion 2, which some people are believing maybe that project is having some troubles, because no word on it recently, and it seemed like a game that would be slated for release relatively early this year, like sort of mid this year. So maybe something's going down at that studio. I have no idea what's up with Luigi's Mansion 2. But I think the most crucial and biggest announcement that came out of the conference was that the next 2D Mario game is going to be released on the 3DS in August, and it is going to be called New Super Mario Bros. 2, which isn't really the biggest surprise, if I'm honest, but there was speculation recently. Nintendo registered the domain Super Mario 4, which people were speculating that the game was going to be a follow-up to the original Super Mario Bros. 3 on the NES, and that it was going to kind of pick up from where that left off, maybe be a retro revival in the same sort of fashion as Mega Man 9 and 10, or maybe just something completely new that deviated from the track of New Super Mario Bros. But apparently not. Apparently Nintendo likes money a lot, and they know that the New Super Mario Bros. Franchise has sold them billions of trillions of gazillions of copies. So it's a smart business move, and one that I'm not really that excited about, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. The New Super Mario Bros., the original game, was a lot of fun. I'll give you that. It was a good game. But even by the time they got to the Wii version, I was like, this looks exactly the same. Like, this just looks the same, and I don't want to play something that is the same, but not the same, you know? It just, the aesthetics of it really put me off. If they'd gone with a different art style, I might have been more interested, but it's something where aesthetics alone can really hurt a game for you. And I feel a problem with this game, not only this game, but there's also been confirmed that the Wii U is most likely going to launch with a 2D Mario game, and is most likely going to be based off the demo from last year's E3 called New Super Mario Bros. Me, which in turn looked exactly like the Wii game. So we're going to end up with 4 games which almost look identical aesthetically, and that's something that I'm not too pleased with.
The real question is, are you surprised at all?
Because I'm not. No, it's not a surprise. Of course I'm not surprised. Look, Nintendo have a business model to maintain. They know that the most money that they will be making is from games like these. Okay? Galaxy and Galaxy 2 are fantastic games, but combined they sold 9 million. New Super Mario Bros. On DS sold like 17 million alone. It just makes them much more money. It's just much more successful with the casual market. It's just much more successful overall. So why they wouldn't continue strong franchise, it wouldn't make sense to not continue it. So there you go. It's disappointing, but alas, it's what we're going to have to live with. I guess the only silver lining is that there's the chance that they'll innovate with these games. They did introduce the Tanuki tail again in 3D Land, and they are again using the Tanuki tail in this game, maybe drumming up on some nostalgia for people who played the original Super Mario Bros. 3. But it's also pretty cool item. I like the Tanuki tail, and it's properly brought back in this one, I believe, because you've got the P meter and stuff, so that you can jump through the stage and skip a lot of it and things like that. So that's pretty cool. But otherwise, I don't know. I am not too excited about it. If it ends up with a scenario where there's nothing else to buy and I want a 3DS game, then I will most likely get this over the Wii U version. I pretty much have zero intention of getting the Wii U version. It doesn't look very interesting. The only thing that is relatively interesting about it is the fact that it uses the screen to have it on the other screen while someone's watching TV at the same time, kind of thing. But that's pretty much the only appeal I see in it, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, then why not just get a handheld version in general?
Exactly. I'm just going to get the 3DS version if I get either of them. To be honest, I think that I personally like platformers on a handheld much more than I like them on a console. I can burn through them much more quickly, and I just feel that platformers are much better tailored for a handheld experience. So that's probably what I'm going to do. I'll pick that up. Also, if you want to hear my thoughts in more detail on this topic, I wrote a blog post on it on my IGN, so you can go to my Facebook and find a link there to that blog post, which I write like 1,500 word fucking diploma on it, so you can go read that if you're interested, I guess. So there you go.
Right on.
That's the
well, the thing is that Nintendo kind of needs that big push right now. It needs that big game that's gonna sell a lot.
Segue.
Not really
I'm the
segue.
king of
We
this.
said we're talking about Nintendo.
Yeah, I know. but
Because, you guys, did you hear Nintendo posts its first annual loss since becoming a public company?
Yep. We've heard
Not
about
just any loss. We're talking $530 million into the red.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. It's pretty heavy, I have to say. This was incoming, though. We knew this was going to happen. They already posted like predictions as to what was going to happen at the end of last year, and this is no surprise, obviously, that this has come to fruition because they had a shitty year last year, and it's what happened. They got fucking end of the stick.
It's a huge, huge number too. They're 530 million in the red right now.
Well, I'm not surprised at hearing this because last podcast we talked about, well, not the podcast, but on Beyond the Podcast about 2 weeks ago, I talked about how Sony is bleeding money as well. They're similar in terms of, if you look at the yen, Nintendo's 820 billion yen. Sony was in that area too, so they're both losing money, but at the same time, neither of these companies is going anywhere fast. We're not going to see Sony or Nintendo having to file bankruptcy. They still make money. It's just they're not making enough money right now. So you'll see cuts from Nintendo. People are going to lose their jobs, which is unfortunate. But, you know, whether it's new Super Mario Brothers or for Sony, if it's something we're going to talk about later, they're going to have ways to make money and bring things back into things. Although Nintendo might actually be losing more money than Sony because Sony Entertainment has lost 800 and something billion yen.
I mean,
not
Sony
Nintendo, who just has their console
video
business.
Games. Yeah. That's the problem. So Sony is an entire technology business. They have so many different segments, and the video gaming one is just one of those. It does contribute, however, to a large majority of their income, but you know, it's only a subset of what they have. So.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, Nintendo's gonna be fine. But
I don't want to just say Nintendo's going to be fine because what they need something that really big to happen. They can't have the Wii U come out and it has the 3DS launch. If they come out and have a lackluster, mediocre at best at launch, you're going to see them lose more money. They're going to hit that billions of dollars in the red, and then there's going to be a problem. They will have to start talking about cutting an entire division of the company. You might hear them do the Sega platform and say, well, sorry guys, we can't do a business anymore. We're going to get bought out by Sony, and Mario is going to be on the PlayStation this year.
Oh, dear God. Imagine.
The Wii U is pretty much going to, I don't think it's going to be the thing that destroys or saves them, but it's going to be close to it. They're going to need something big to happen, whether it's the Wii U, whether they bring out some ridiculous thing that makes the 3DS super popular, but they need something, and they need it fast.
They're doing a lot better at the moment. As soon as the big games hit last year for 3DS, they definitely picked up a lot of momentum in Japan, most of all, simply because of that just trifecta of games that hit Japan and left the Vita in their wake, really. The Vita is having a shitty time in Japan right now. I think last week it sold 8,000 units in the whole country, which is just pretty shocking. So we'll see how that pans out. But I agree that the Wii U needs to hit hard, and I'm worried because I don't think it will do. It just doesn't. We haven't obviously gotten to E3 yet, but I believe that that's where they're going to have to make all their big punches and say, you know, this is what's going to happen. Wii U is going to launch strong. We're going to have this game, and you know, people are going to be interested in the system and stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not too sure on it, but.
As far as the Wii goes, they sold 9.8 million units last year. They're expecting to sell 10.5 million Wiis this year. So, I mean, it's obviously still selling, not as well as the 360, which is still above and beyond the best-selling console right now, which makes me sad on the inside because I'm not a Microsoft fan. But again, I don't think they're going anywhere soon. And apparently, a lot of the reason that they're doing so bad right now is the yen was really high.
Oh yeah, the yen's really strong as a currency, so they have a lot of business in the other markets, so they're losing a hell of a lot.
Yeah, so it's Nintendo's kind of $530 million in the hole. It might not be as bad as it sounds. If the yen wasn't doing as well, I think that number would be lower because they are selling well here.
Yes.
If they're not selling well in, Japan and things like that, it's not huge for them because they do have to compete with Monster Hunter. I'm not going to say with Sony because Monster Hunter is the thing in Japan.
Yes, yeah.
But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I hope they return strong with the Wii U or something. But I mean, I think that would be a bigger loss to the gaming world than Sega was. Well, yes,
definitely.
Sonic was a great icon. Sega had a lot of fantastic games, but Mario has been around for forever. Everybody knows Mario. Everybody knows Link. These are just the two things that most people, when you associate with video games, they're probably the first two things you're going to say.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It is true.
I mean, here's just something that'll take you back to nostalgia land. How many of your parents still go, stop playing that Nintendo? And then you have to go, Mom, it's an Xbox.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, considering that not everybody still lives with their parents, Fizz.
Hey, I got a job. But I'm just saying,
my grandfather's the worst with it because he's like, hey, what are you doing with that Playboy?
That reminds me of Sandra Bullock on The Blind Side, where she's saying to her son, "You better stop playing that Playbox."
The Playbox.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, it's pretty bad how uninformed they are, but that's what happens. Generational gap.
But I mean, even so, the freaking our parents. I'm going to say our parents because I think every single person here has had a parent at some point who either played the Nintendo Entertainment System with Zelda or Mario, or they remember it, because most of us are not that old. I mean, Pup's not here, so he obviously doesn't remember. But I mean, if his mom knows about the Nintendo, obviously she remembers Mario. So it's kind of one of those things where that's how long Nintendo's been around. If they suddenly go under, that's a huge loss. And obviously, you're going to suddenly see that Sony and Microsoft, and if Steam makes their console thing, and maybe Apple, who knows? But suddenly, everybody's going to want to buy Nintendo because those two icons are huge. They are money pits. People will buy them. And obviously, the new Super Mario is going to help Nintendo. Don't know if the Wii U will help them all that much, but I'm sure they have things in the works where they're not hitting the panic button just yet.
Yeah.
No. I mean, Nintendo is sitting on so much liquid assets. It's unbelievable amounts of money that they're sitting on that they can just pull out when they need to. So it's okay. They'll be okay for a while.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean,
they have Pokemon and Kirby too. They're pretty popular around the world, I'd like to think.
Yes.
Oh,
Pokemon
is just like
it's like every kid, everyone in Japan, and then like half of the college students who wants to feel nostalgia. That is like a huge like demographic right there. Like Pokemon is enormous,
unbelievably massive.
Yeah,
they've got those big name juggernauts. They're first party, and I think that's kind of the biggest issue that they're going to have is when the Wii U comes out, they're going to need that third party support because I mean, if you look at the Wii, their third party support is pretty much garbage right now. There's not very many really popular non first party games for them for a lot of different reasons. The first being why would I go out of my way to make a game for Nintendo when it's probably, I wouldn't necessarily think it's easier to do it for Sony and Xbox, but if you do it for one, you can do it for the other, and that's two markets instead of just the Wii.
Additionally, people know that third-party games just don't sell on the Wii. Nintendo's games sell best on the Wii, and the problem is if you put something on a Nintendo console, your main competitor is Nintendo themselves, and they will always have the upper ground on you, no matter what. So, it is tough if you want to get into that.
I think with the Wii U, they're not going to have as big of an issue because, if I recall correctly, the specs of the Wii U are going to be similar to the PS3 and the 360. So all of these first-party developers already have the technology, the knowledge. They can pump out games for them. Yeah. Of course, then you're going to run into the problem if in 2013 Sony and Microsoft release their next-gen consoles, you're going to have the same problem you have right now where nobody's going to want to go out of their way to make something at a lesser quality when they can make it for the PS3 or the PS4 or the 720, whatever they call their next-gen consoles.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sony is still putting out games for their PlayStation 2, so there will still be support there, but Nintendo is going to have to hope that Sony and Microsoft kind of hold out for at least another year.
They definitely will, I think.
Because then they're going to just continue to have those problems where they're in the red.
I don't think... Yeah. I was just going to say, I don't think it will be as significant a problem in the next generation, simply because the way that tech is being pushed at this point, I feel that we're really on the bleeding edge as far as they can push the graphics engine and all those kind of things. Wii U will be 1080p, it will run games that the PS3 and Xbox 360 can, and I don't feel it's going to be as much of a problem for developers to downport things from a PS4 or a 720 to Wii U, just because it'll still be in HD, and I don't think it will be that far away in terms of just how good the specs are. So, I don't know.
Here's my issue with that, and it's something we're going to be talking about later with Crytek, but right now, the highest thing you can get on a PC is DirectX 11. You physically can't run that on a PS3 without some sort of intense sort of publisher becoming a god. Obviously, Naughty Dog did something with the Uncharted series that showed you what you could do with the PS3, and I would honestly think that Uncharted 2 on my PS3 would look just as good on my PC. Probably a little bit better because I do have better capabilities with my PC, but there are ways where they can continue to upgrade the graphics. We're not suddenly going to have, those holograms like the Tupac hologram. And we're not good, but
yes.
At the same time, like I said, to run a game, the same game that is on the PC, I'll use Skyrim. The Skyrim looks infinitely better on PC at max graphics than it does on a console, simply because the technology is better. And eventually, the PC technology is going to be in my console, and then my PC technology is going to be upgraded again. And there will be a point where they say, okay, we physically can't do anything else, but 1080p is not the best that we can do. I know a guy who streams League of Legends on Twitch TV at 1200. 1200.
Jesus
There's
fuck.
physically no reason for him to do it, but he can, so he does. So,
do TVs even output at that resolution?
Obviously, his computer does.
Obviously, his monitor's handling it. Jesus Christ.
But so, obviously, there's going to be, even if it's minor upgrades, there will be upgrades. And it's just, I don't know, technology just baffles me. I think we're focused a lot. I think comes to a point where you start focusing way too much on graphics technology.
Yeah, definitely.
I think when the PS3 came out and introduced Blu-ray technology, that is a beautiful upgrade from what they had before.
Definitely.
Not only do your Blu-rays hold more, you don't have the issue that Microsoft had with all of their jailbreaking and pirating their games, because nobody really wants to pirate a Blu-ray. The files are too big. Even if you are lucky enough to have a Blu-ray burner, and I don't, and I have a high-end PC, I'm pretty sure blank Blu-ray discs are not going to be cheap. So in those sorts of upgrades, yeah, I'm all for it. You do whatever the hell you want. But there becomes a point when it's like, well, I'm playing Madden 17, and it's essentially being there because everything is exactly like human graphics, and then there's no reason to upgrade ever again unless you
when you hit
want.
photorealism, that's the barrier.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
nothing more.
But at the same time, I don't even. There are games that I don't even want to have that. The new Walking Dead game is perfect. I don't think that game could look any better than it does. Their art style is absolutely fantastic. It looks like a comic book, and that's the art style they went with. And I wouldn't want that to be virtual realism. I think there are a lot of games that fall under that. As great as Uncharted looks now, I don't want it to become virtual reality. I think it's a beautiful game as it is, and I like having some of my games look like games and not physical, real people.
I want to see a photorealism Nintendo game called Super Mario Brothers, and it's just like a fat Italian guy, plumber, just actually doing like plumbing jobs.
But it has to be 3D.
It's 3D. It's photorealism. It looks like if your mailman gained 70 pounds. And it would be brilliant. No.
That sounds fantastic, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's horrible. It's the worst idea ever made, ever.
Yeah.
So, point proven. You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for artistic license and just art style in general. Just games like, you're saying The Walking Dead and things like Kirby, Mario, those kind of very cartoonish look. You're never going to hit photorealism with that. You're just going to hit more and more, sharper images, I guess.
And again, there becomes a point where there's no need to go above and beyond. The Walking Dead at 1080p, I physically don't see a need to go beyond that. I mean, I don't see a huge difference from 720 to 1080 because
there isn't a significant change
because of the art style. It maxes out at a certain point, and okay, great, it's crisp and clear, but it was crisp and clear at 720. So
true.
In that sense, I don't want some games. Obviously, there are games that I think would do really well being photorealism. As much as I die inside would say this, I think if a Call of Duty suddenly became photorealism, it would even jump higher in sales. As hard as
I think it might.
And then they just release a new one every 6 months.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think that could have a negative effect on the series, to be honest. If you're taking the brutality of war to a realistic level, that's having an effect on people, if I'm honest.
Well,
that's kind of...
But conversely, if you think about it, okay, let's think about who would oppose that. You're thinking parents, mothers, things like that. You know what teenagers are? Rebellious. They don't give a fuck. Hell yeah, I want to gut someone. Let's do that. They're gonna buy the game.
When you think about it like that anyway, I mean, there are incredibly violent games that are already looking nice. They're not affecting people. Anybody who thinks that video games have an actual effect on the mind, these are typically the people who don't know what they're talking about. Your senators who don't even know what a Game Boy is. Your parents never actually played anything. They're just essentially assuming that because you're playing a violent game, you're going to be a violent person. There is a case, I don't exactly know where, but there was a guy who he was convicted as a murderer. And he played World of Warcraft, but they tried to make it out that World of Warcraft turned him into this killer because World of Warcraft's all about war. And it's like, no, the dude's a murderer because he's fucked up in the head.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft didn't make him fucked up in the head.
Absolutely.
If I go around spending 24 hours a day on Kirby for 6 months, am I going to go around and try and eat everything I see? No.
You're just going to suck people up.
Well, I might actually try and eat everything I see because I played that game for 24 hours a day for 6 months. And I'm probably hungry as shit, but I'm not going to try and suck up the mailman and try and deliver mail.
I mean, and like, if you think about it, like, okay, if you're playing a violent video game, that's one thing. What about violent movies that have been around forever? Westerns, war movies. Platoon is like probably one of the most famous movies ever. Saving Private Ryan. Like these.
Actually, Saving Private Ryan. The great thing about that movie was actually shown to war veterans because they wanted to get that as realistic as possible.
Yeah.
And the veterans were like, yeah, you're not even close.
Yeah. I mean,
they thought like you did a great job. It was worse.
Yeah, but it's like the same thing. Like, are those movies turning people into like warmonger murderers? No, they're not.
No, of course not.
It's just another form of entertainment.
Yeah, the point that I was kind of getting to, which I think you kind of maybe took it the wrong way, but I was more not concentrating on the fact that it makes people violent, but more on the fact that it would affect people on a more emotional level, akin to something like a war movie. Because when you get that photorealistic,
I don't think that would be negative at all.
I wouldn't say it was negative.
Game that actually invokes emotion. That would be the greatest game of all time.
It would be in that sense. I guess it's just if you're taking a more involved perspective into a sort of war movie scenario, then it sort of draws you in more to the idea of, you know, the realities of war and the brutalities of war in that sense. Not, you know, going off and being violent, but being personally affected by it. So I don't know how much that would change, but maybe
I physically hate Call of Duty for what it is, but if that game suddenly actually invoked emotion that wasn't you raging at your TV because some dude shot you in the head, that would actually be a really good game.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes down.
But I mean, as far as games affecting people, I think if you honestly think that games are affecting people, they're not. The people's already fucked up. They just play video games.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. They just blame it on the devil because they don't know better. That's all it is.
It's like the mom from Waterboy. Everything is the devil.
Yeah.
Love that movie.
Speaking of the devil... No, there's no segue
There's actually no physical segue.
No segue there at all. But,
we'd be pushing it there.
But let's move on.
Actually, you know what? No, there is a segue.
You
know why? Because EA is the devil. It's the worst company in America, and they try to get bought out. Not just by anybody. Nexon. And if anybody doesn't know the name Nexon, you probably will after I tell you the title, their big headliner. Nexon is a free-to-play. They are very popular because of MapleStory. And most people have heard of MapleStory, even if they don't play it.
Most people heard of MapleStory because of that lawsuit with the marriage and shit, and some in-game marriage.
Well, I knew of MapleStory because I knew a lot of people that play it, but
I actually played it for a time, so...
Go play MapleStory. A bunch of people play it.
Mm.
And Nexon, this company that does free-to-play games, they tried to buy out EA, which blows my mind because how much money do you have to buy EA? That's not a publisher, or that's not some little developer. That's a freaking publisher and a juggernaut at that. EA is involved in almost everything these days. They have their own digital distribution site. They have some of the biggest developers under their toe. They've got BioWare.
They own the licenses for every sporting franchise under the sun.
Yeah, there's no
pretty much, yeah.
There's no NFL 2K10 anymore. It's Madden or nothing. It's
exactly
ridiculous. And Nexon actually said, "Yeah, we'll buy you out. You got nailed by the Better Business Bureau. We'll buy you. We're better than you." And I'm pretty sure that EA just kind of laughed and said, "Lol, nope." But it's the actual part about it is that would be amazing. And Frosty Mocha, that is not true because Activision owns Blizzard, not EA. So WoW would not go free to play.
Boom.
So that's pretty ridiculous. Just the fact that they have enough money to be able to say that they could potentially buy out EA is mind-blowing.
Yeah, this is a company that does free-to-play games. And in their defense, they have some of the more popular ones right now. Obviously, MapleStory has done very well for itself. But they also have Dragon Nest and Vindictus, which are more recent games that are doing very, very well in the free-to-play market. They have Atlantica Online that came out a few years ago. It's kind of a turn-based strategy RPG kind of thing that's doing really well. They have a few other things, but those are kind of the main three besides MapleStory. So they're obviously making money, but the fact that they're making enough money where they can offer EA to buy them out is pretty freaking impressive. A pat on the back to Nexon because
Yeah.
I didn't think any of their games were all that enticing, but
Because
obviously
EA owns
people
everything.
Mhm.
I can't imagine anyone buying them out.
No,
No,
I don't think.
I don't think.
I don't even think Activision could buy them out. I don't
Yeah.
think it would just sell to Activision based on principles. They'd probably sell to Nexon first, but it's just can't believe it.
Insanity.
It's crazy. You just have to wonder how much money these companies are making from these online games like MapleStory, because
Just
first of all, as
wonder
you
why
said,
you
it's
just
free.
go to school to learn how to program video games and make a free-to-play video game, and
Here's
then have
if you make a
transactions.
free-to-play game, you have to do it very well. You have to have a fantastic microtransaction system, and you're going to snicker at me, but I got to bring up League of Legends because they do it very well. League of Legends, Riot Games, makes more money than any other game right now. And they're still a relatively new game. They surpassed World of Warcraft, and World of Warcraft has millions of people paying $15 a month. League of Legends, you can play that game and never spend a penny. And they have made more money than everybody.
Question.
Which is pretty mind-blowing.
Question, though. How much money... I don't know if you actually want to answer this. You can say no. But how much money have you personally put into League of Legends?
Oh, well, let's see.
Oh shit! Here we go.
Again, you
I'm
can
just
give
gonna
like a
go ahead and
ballpark
say
answer or just like...
$50 a month.
What?
I'm going to say probably more. I used to play World of Warcraft. They played for a few months. I obviously paid more on League than I have on WoW. I've probably spent no less than $150.
Okay. That's fair.
Still,
I'm just saying.
significant amount.
Oh, yeah,
And
it
If you,
is.
I mean,
perspective,
the
like
joke
that's
that's going on with a lot of my friends is we talk about how League's a free-to-play game, and we ask the same questions. Well, how much have you spent on it?
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's one of those things where, again, you don't have to, but their model is very good. And there are things that they put out that you actually see. I actually want to pay for this, whether it's, a new skin so you look really cool, or if it's a new champion that you don't have enough of your in-game credits to buy and you're really excited for. I mean, obviously, Riot Games knows what they're doing because they have surpassed everybody. I believe the number is there are 32 million active accounts in China.
What?
And then just think, like,
China.
let's say the average is probably like people spend like
30 million active accounts. I know that there are a lot of North American players that have accounts on the new Chinese servers. A lot of people have multiple accounts, but it's insane. There are no less than 60 million people playing this game around the world. Unfortunately, they haven't released any sort of numbers recently, but back in the winter of 2011, they put out an article. There are 11 million games being played at any given time all day. 24 hours a day, there are at least 11 million games being played. And that was in the winter, and this game has grown since then because the IGN has picked up this as an esport. It just got confirmed now. MLG is carrying it. Their season 2 has just been incredibly popular from an esports standpoint. It's incredible. This game is growing at an incredible pace, and man, kudos to Riot. I love the game. I obviously you guys know that because I talk to you about it a lot. But
every night.
not every night. Just kind of mess with me. You ask what I'm doing. I say, I'm playing League. But
every night. Seriously.
It's kudos. Obviously, the free-to-play market is growing rapidly because when you think about it, what are most gamers these days? They're our age. They're high school kids. They're college kids. They don't have a lot of money. So it's easier for them to say, I'll put in $15 for League of Legends as opposed to I'm going to go out and buy Skyrim for $60. And then, I mean, what if you don't actually have $60? And if you have 20, you are more likely to go to a free-to-play game.
A lot of people don't have $60 right now. And
I certainly don't, and I want to buy Diablo 3. So
yeah, I mean, well, the whole thing, I think part of the reason, at least, why these free-to-play games are a good business model for right now is that no one in America has disposable income right now. Like, everyone in America is having a shitty time with, oh my god, the economy is so bad. No one's getting paid enough money, so like, it's an easy out to go, okay, here's a free-to-play game, and then just, like, spend money as you will. I mean, like, you could put, like, $5 into the game, like, per month, and you're just, like, not even think about it. That's nothing.
That's $60 a year. That's
Yeah.
a game. It's a AAA title.
Yeah. But the
But that's a
upside
year.
is,
That's not a.
yeah, exactly.
I bought a AAA title and I beat it in a week.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. It's like it's a good model for right now when like things aren't going so well for so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, the companies that really made free to play successful are Nexon and Turbine. Turbine bought out a couple of different companies, and they now own Dungeons and Dragons Online and Lord of the Rings Online. Back in the day when I started, doing PC gamings and I was looking at all sorts of these free-to-play MMOs, they were, and I'm going to have to say it again, they were Korean-based games that were free-to-play over there. They were time sinks. You spent a week trying to get one level, and they got a really bad reputation. The graphics quality wasn't as good, et cetera, et cetera. And then, Lord of the Rings and Dungeons & Dragons weren't free-to-play when they came out. They just didn't do very well, so Turbine bought those games and said, we'll make them free-to-play, but there's microtransactions here, and their system worked out perfectly. They brought in so many different companies to this market. If Turbine didn't do well, I don't think League of Legends would be free-to-play or possibly even ever out. Heroes of Newerth, which is another Dota-style game, that wasn't free-to-play when it came out, but now it is, and it's doing a little better, but it's competing with too many things. So, yeah, the economy certainly had a great deal to do with this, but it was these really smart guys over at Turbine that said, we can turn these games into incredible successes, and that is how the free-to-play market kind of really got its foot in the door here in North America. It was always big in Asia, especially in Korea, where they love these grind fest, take a week to get a level. Obviously, most people here don't like that for a number of reasons, but
instant gratification.
That's exactly what it is. That's
it's a problem.
Systems in everything. And I talked about that way, way back in the day when I still had my other channel, where that's really what we've become. If we don't have our achievement system gratification, I feel like I did something, I don't want to play this game. It's kind of what it boils down to, and it's not a bad thing by any means, but achievements has kind of become the thing. I know people who buy games just to get the achievements. They don't even care about the story or the gameplay. They buy it so they can get their medals.
Yeah.
Achievement whores and trophy whores.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
It happens.
I don't want to say that it's bad, because obviously they're cute. Those people buy games, so in fact they buy more games than the rest of us, because they just beat the game and get the next.
They buy all the shitty games just so that they can have the highest trophy level. It's pretty ridiculous.
They buy every game and they just beat the game and go out and buy the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Guys like us, we buy a game. You especially, Zed, you buy a game about 6 months later when it comes out. You take 3 months to beat it, and then you go get another game that's 6 months old.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing wrong with that. You play at no pace. But obviously, the guys who go out and buy a new game every week do a little bit more for the gaming industry than the rest of us. But hey, to each their own.
Exactly.
Speaking of to each their own, PlayStation has their own version of Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
That was
I like it. I like it.
I've ever seen.
No, it was genius.
It was okay, but it was pretty forced.
It was. So Sony has come out with PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
Which is the worst title I've ever heard for a game ever. I'm sorry.
I agree 100%. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale is the title. Maybe that will get changed over time, hopefully, God.
No, I don't think they should. I think they should keep it. For the same reason that I love Lollipop Chainsaw. It's over the top and ridiculous.
Well, then they should go the whole 9 and make it even worse.
Yeah.
They need at least 5 more words to hit the Lollipop Chainsaw spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so it's kind of like a Smash Brothers type game.
Kind of?
Okay,
it's blatantly
okay.
a Smash Brothers.
It's the Sony port of Smash Brothers. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, characters confirmed right now. You're looking at Kratos from God of War, Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal, Papa Rappa, the Rappa from Papa Rappa the Rappa.
Rap of the rap.
The Fat Princess is in it too, from the Fat Princess.
Yes. And then Sly Cooper, and I think a couple other ones that I don't remember.
It's just Colonel Raddick from Killzone.
There you go, the Killzone dude.
Killzone dude who cares about. Yeah.
Well, anyways, I mean, it looks kind of cool, but are you guys excited about it at all?
I personally am, and I'll tell you why. Anything that is involving the Smash Brothers model makes me excited. It's a game, obviously, this franchise Smash Brothers is very much anti the structure of something like Call of Duty. It isn't annualized in any way. It takes a long time for a new game in that franchise to come out. There have only been 3 games in like the 15-year history of the franchise. So having a new game which is on the same kind of level as a Smash Brothers is, but also mixing it up with Sony characters, I think is a fantastic thing. And I don't even care that they're unabashedly ripping it off, because it's something that the fans have wanted to see for so long. And I think that apart from Nintendo, Sony is the only other company that can really pull off this style of game, because they have enough franchises and they have enough established characters and enough history behind them to where it can be effective and work in the same way to what Nintendo can do. Microsoft, I don't think they can do anything like that, to be perfectly honest.
Here's the thing with Microsoft. They haven't been around nearly as long as Sony, and most of their exclusives are shooters.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So their All-Star Battle Royale is just a first-person shooter where you're...
Their All-Star Battle Royale is
which
Master
Halo
Chief
versus I don't
Master
even know
Chief.
what else.
It's basically Halo and Gears.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there you go.
Obviously they have more
I'll predict you'll
exclusives than
probably
that, but-
see more characters like Drake from Uncharted and Cole from Infamous, and I don't know who else. Maybe Crash.
I think
Ratchet
Boy.
Clank will make an appearance some way or
Yeah.
another. You'll probably see Spyro make an appearance while he's not exclusive anymore, but he was...
I think that Crash and Spyro have so much just cachet in terms of nostalgia that they're definitely going to push for both of them to be in there.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Spyro was the guy in the
He
original
was,
PlayStation
yeah.
era. He was the dude. He was their Mario. Like,
Yeah.
I remember playing the original Spyro the Dragon. It was the greatest thing ever.
It's fantastic. I
Jack
love Spyro.
Daxter, somebody just said. A couple people just said.
Ratchet and Clank and Jack and Daxter
I
definitely.
said Ratchet and Clank. Let me pull out my drawer of PS3 games.
Black Boy from Little Big Planet will be in there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The chick from Heavenly Sword might make an appearance.
Mm-hmm. How about that dude from Heavy Rain? LOL.
Heavy Rain's but I don't know. I feel like there are a ton of characters they can do that with. Sackboy is better making an appearance. That is their cash cow from the PS3.
Yeah, he'll be there. Absolutely.
But they also said there'll be lots of third-party people as well. So as people saying in the chat, Snake from Metal Gear, he's probably going to make an appearance, which would be very interesting because Snake appeared in Brawl as well. So it'd be really interesting to see how Sony deals with him as opposed to what Nintendo did with him in Brawl. I'd be interested to see that sort of crossover.
I'm just trying to think of other games. You'll see some sort of Final Fantasy character. You'll see some sort of Kingdom Hearts character.
Cloud, most likely Cloud. I don't know.
Sora, Mickey might be. I wouldn't think Mickey would be in there, but
I think Sora will. Sora will make it.
Yeah.
I think that they have
Sora than Riku, maybe both of them, because they did do the double Fire Emblem character in Melee.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they have
from Resistance.
They have so long of a franchise to go through. I mean, it's essentially been obviously not nearly as long as Nintendo, where they have more characters, but
yeah,
they've been around for a long, long time, and they don't really just have those core franchises to pull some, kind of like how Nintendo did with the earlier games of Super Smash Brothers. But obviously now they have all sorts of RPGs they can pull things from. They're obviously pulling from some of their first-person shooters if they have Killzone characters. Kratos is there. So, I mean, I think in terms of sheer characters, I think that they're going to be... I wouldn't be surprised if they go upwards of 50 characters that you can unlock, kind of in the old days of Marvel vs. Capcom 2, where it was like the world and there was like 80 characters that you could unlock. But...
I think it's going to be very interesting. I think they'll definitely like leak out characters along the way. I'm not sure if we'll get any more character confirmation before E3, but definitely at E3 they'll do a lot of reveals. I don't think they'll announce everything, and they'll hold out a few more things as the year goes on before the release of the game. But I'm definitely sure that we'll see a lot of
I guarantee you they'll do what they did. I believe Melee did this, where they gave you a list of a bunch, like they gave you a picture, and they had, you know, X number of people on it, and some of them were blacked out, and they were like, these are the hidden characters, but their silhouettes, you kind of already knew who they were.
I'm gonna throw another name out there that I think you'll probably see is probably Lara Croft.
Oh yes, that's a good point.
Yes.
Yeah, Lara Croft. I mean, she hasn't really been around lately, but yeah.
Yeah, but she's classic. She's classic Sony.
Yeah, exactly.
That was one of the first games I had from my PS1 was Tomb Raider.
Ironically, just going way back in the past, they were trying to include Lara Croft in a Final Fantasy game.
What?
As like some super secret unlock character.
Okay, that's weird, but
that would have been hilarious.
That would have been weird as hell, Jesus Christ.
Oh, and obviously it'd be weird, but it'd be pretty fun.
So I don't know.
It would be.
This game seems pretty cool. I mean, I'm not too excited about it because I'm not expecting a lot from it. But I'll definitely, I don't know. Part of me part of me thinks it's going to be really good, and part of me thinks it's going to be really bad.
Here's the thing. I'm excited for it in the sense that I really like Super Smash Brothers because for the same reason I was talking about Super Monday Night Combat, it's a fighter that doesn't take itself seriously.
Yes.
It's not your Street Fighter X Tekken 2D fighter.
Which I could never play because everyone would always beat me, always.
Yeah, it's... Obviously, fighting games are a big market these days, and they're a lot of fun. I love fighting games. But the thing that set Super Smash Bros. Apart wasn't the fact that they brought in all of these characters from their different games. It was their crazy weapons, and it was their crazy moves, and it was over the top. I loved it. And obviously, that nowadays is kind of add more characters, new maps, that kind of stuff, but... I will buy this game. I don't think there's any reason that I wouldn't. But at the same time, this isn't being like, oh my god, it's coming out. I'm gonna poop myself. I'm so excited. It's a fighting game, but when it boils down to it, it's not the first of its kind. It's certainly not the first game that takes away from or that takes the Super Smash Brothers concept at all. In fact, there's a Sonic fighting game on the Game Boy Advance. So, obviously, there are other companies that have done this. Sony's just kind of late to the party, and I don't think they're going to get any hate for this. I mean, obviously, Nintendo fans aren't too happy because Smash Bros. Is kind of their thing. But overall, I think it's going to be... I think the way to put it into perspective in terms of how successful I think it'll be a cult game. Similar to how... if you look at the movie Mortal Kombat, that movie was absolutely terrible, but at the same time, it was amazing.
Worst movie of all time. Also, best movie of all time.
Yeah, so I think it's one of those things where it's a great game for the fans, but if you're looking outside it, you're just like, this is terrible. Why are you playing this?
It's like why people buy DBZ games.
What are you talking about? I buy DVDs. It's amazing.
Okay.
You become a Super Saiyan, right? Super Saiyan.
Now, let's face it. Mr. I'm super excited for DBZ Connect, so I can Super Saiyan in front of my TV.
Yeah. Yes. Well, whatever I am, I don't care.
Clearly.
Am I hoping it's going to be good? Yeah. But that doesn't mean every DBZ game ever pretty much has been pretty shitty.
A lot of them have.
That doesn't mean I haven't enjoyed them. Also, so just saying.
Yeah. So yeah, this game looks very interesting. For me, I'm like the most excited about this in terms of anything on the PlayStation, simply because a lot of the games I'm buying on PlayStation at the moment obviously are old games, so I don't have anything really to look forward to. I just have a back catalog that I'm kind of chugging through at the moment, and I think this will probably be the first game and perhaps the only game that I buy new on the PlayStation 3 at launch. I've bought some games new, just not when they launch. I bought Portal 2 new, for example, but I think this is the one game that I'm actually going to pick up day of release and just enjoy it. It just looks very, very interesting, and I want this kind of game on my PlayStation. So.
Speaking of Portal 2, are you excited to hear about the map editor?
Oh yeah, that came out. I don't think they're going to put it on the PS3 or 360 version though. From what I heard, PC only map tools.
I think they can do it, just not right away. If Little Big Planet taught us anything, it's that it can be done.
I'm sure it can be done, but yeah, they've only announced it for PC at the moment, if I'm right.
Yeah, PC and Mac.
But it sounds very, very cool.
I think it's been long overdue for a game that came out
definitely
a while ago, but yeah.
It's going to add so much replay value because there are some crazy people out there who can come up with some ridiculous ideas.
Well, I wouldn't really consider it replay value. I would just consider you go on and you see the kind of maps that the people have played. If any game that you allow a modding scene is going to prolong that life immensely. StarCraft has a modding scene. You make your own maps. Diablo 2 has a modding scene. These games have been out for 15 years. Well, not quite 15 years. I think Diablo 2 came out in 1998.
Sure.
With the expansion out in 1998, 1999. And the expansion, Lord of Destruction, came out in 2000. So, I mean, that's 12 years for a game. StarCraft, I believe, came out in 98. So, these are incredibly old games, but you allow people to mod them and create their own content and gives new life to the game, the franchise, etc. And some companies, they don't want that. And that's fine. It's obviously personal preference, but anything that has any sort of modding scene is just going to continue to be successful until their next game comes out, or if for whatever reason the game ends with that game, it'll still be a popular game 10 years from now. I know people that still play Warcraft 3, people that still play StarCraft, and again, obviously Blizzard knows what they're doing. They have 3 games, and they're probably the 3 most successful games in each of their respective categories, but
yeah, I played StarCraft up until the day StarCraft 2 came out.
Anybody that allows modding is okay in my books because there are so many amazing people out there that do some incredible things with those mods. If you look at Minecraft, some of the things that have been created with that are really cool.
No, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Personally, I would never have even thought of anything that some of these things have done.
No.
The Yogscast put out a video not too long ago for backpacks in Minecraft. Blew my mind at how simple a concept that was and how I could never think of it.
They on the topic of their videos, they put out a series recently called The Dropper, and it's based on this. It's a map where it's dropping puzzles basically. You have to fall through the entire world, like going past different scenery and stuff. And one of the things that they drop through is like the speeder bike chase from Star Wars in the jungle. It basically recreates a forest, and you fall vertically through this forest, but it looks like it's on a 2D plane not on a 2D plane, but on a horizontal plane when you look at it, when you look down. So basically the entire wall is a forest, but you're falling through it in the perspective of going through it like horizontally as opposed to vertically.
Cool.
It is nuts. Absolutely nuts. And things like that, just crazy ideas that people have. It's unbelievable what people can do with these kind of things.
Yeah, and obviously anytime you add modding, your game is gonna do well. It's gonna last longer. And that gives you that extra year or so to make your next one, to make it as good as you need it to be, because you don't have to worry about rushing something out because suddenly you're losing sales, games are not popular, etc. Why do you think Diablo 3 and StarCraft 2 have taken so long? Diablo 3 had its own issues, but StarCraft 2, they probably could have put out earlier, but they didn't have to. They could use those extra couple of years to make it the game it is now, and it's a fantastic game. I could never play it competitively. I'm terrible at it, but it's amazing.
It is pretty awesome. It's like, I don't know. They didn't everything you said spot on. Like, because I want to add to it, but I can't. So There you go.
So yeah, no, I'm just going back to the PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale. What a name! Game for a second.
Telling you, it's the greatest name of anything that's come out.
They should try to work in the word WrestleMania in there. Or
No.
X8, yeah, no mercy. Definitely. But yeah, just going back, I think the Smash Brothers model just makes it stand out in general. For one, it's a 4-person game as opposed to a 2-person game in terms of the cooperative experience and the multiplayer experience. That makes it stand out. Also, the system of getting kills or KOs is not based around a health meter, but instead based around a ring out system with percentage, which is another very different.
PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale actually has a health bar.
Yeah, they do.
It doesn't. Now, you may be confused as to the thing on the bottom being a health bar. What that bar actually is like a power meter which you build up throughout the game, and you get to perform these super moves. So, for example, Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal, when he performs his super move, he basically puts on his massive truck and has these machine guns and just guns people down across the stage, kind of in a similar vein to what the sort of smash attacks, what are they called, the big attacks from Brawl are. So that's what that meter is. So at the moment, it's kind of up in the air as to what they're doing about their KO system. No one really knows because everyone thought that bar was a health bar, whereas in fact it's just a power meter. And some stages you can't be ringed out on, so it's kind of, people really don't know what determines whether you win or not. I think someone said it was to do with a point system, so you build up points as you beat people up, and I guess the person with the most points at the ends win. But I really don't know what they're going to do. Yeah, Final Smash is what it's called, the Smash Brothers thing. But you would think that it was going to be a health bar system, but it isn't at the moment. So we'll see what they do with that. I have no idea what it's going to be.
They better include the home run bat so you can just auto win, because that is the most broken but most fun item in any game ever.
What about the hammer?
Screw the hammer. I'll take the bat. Just one shot everybody. You can live with the hammer.
True.
If somebody smashes you with the bat, you're gone. Even if you're full health, you're just done.
Mm-hmm.
Game over for you.
I think just another thing to point out before we move on from this topic is that the stages is kind of interesting. In Brawl and Melee and all the Smash Brothers games, the stages are based around one franchise, and you just have basic locations from these different games. In this game, you have a mash. They've basically taken 2 franchises and mashed them together into creating each stage. So each stage has 2 franchises involved. So, for example, there's a stage which combines God of War and Patapon, and you've got Hades, like in the underworld, like smashing shit apart on screen, but then he'll get distracted by like the Patapon crap behind him, and he'll turn around and start smashing them to pieces instead and leave you alone for a second. So it's kind of interesting, kind of funny that they're kind of literally taking the crashing of universes together, which is a nice addition. I think it's pretty cool that they decided to do that.
I think they should have mashed up God of War and Papa Rapper the Rapper. I think they really missed an opportunity there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what Stony Creative is doing, but they need to hire this guy right here, because I would turn their world upside down with awesome ideas.
Sure you would. You're the idea guy, of course.
He has one good idea every 6 months.
That's all you need for a video game, Jake. They don't come out weekly.
If you worked at Sony Entertainment, they kind of do.
This is true. This is true.
Fair enough.
Indeed.
I could just fake it the rest of the way. But speaking of fake things,
no, there's no segue.
No segue. But yeah, there we go.
I'm not even gonna let you attempt to force that.
No, I got this. Speaking of fake things, you want to know what doesn't look fake? The graphics of Crysis 3.
That is terrible.
Yes.
See the look on my face. I'm so pleased with myself.
Too bad the world is just face palming you right now.
Yes, Viz, you're brilliant.
People just turned off the stream because of that comment.
Shut up and just tell them about Crytek.
Okay, kind of going based off what we were talking about earlier with graphics technology, etc. anybody who has played Crysis or Crysis 2, they know the company Crytek. They know how ridiculously good those games look on your PC. When Crysis 2 came out, people would legitimately go out and buy a new PC so they could play it. I knew of people who had to do that because, I mean, I played the game, my computer was able to handle it. It looked phenomenal. They had DirectX usage shortly after the game came out, which made the game go from looking good to, oh my god, it was, you couldn't believe that this game was on your computer. I couldn't believe I could run it at max graphics. That's how ridiculous this game looks. With Crysis 3, and they've released screenshots, if you're a fan of the Crysis series, you've probably seen them at some point. They are announcing that while they want to use DirectX capabilities, or DirectX 11 capabilities rather, the PS3 and the 360 physically aren't supposed to be able to run them right now. But Crytek is busting their balls right now. They're saying, we're doing this. If you're not releasing a console for us, we're going to make this work on your console if it makes your console blow up. So, kudos to Crytek. If they are able to do this, suddenly you're going to see people stop caring about the PS4 and the 720 for another couple of years, because they're doing everything that the upgraded systems are really kind of being used for. Obviously, when you upgrade a console, you're upgrading the tech in it, which means you're going to have better looking games, better capabilities. But at this point, like we were kind of talking about earlier, you know, Blu-ray obviously was a great upgrade. I can't think of too much Sony can do to upgrade the PS4 or upgrade to the PS4 without just making the games look a little better, maybe have better hard drives, etc. Mm-hmm. So if you can put a game out in DirectX 11, 1080p, which blows my mind that that's even possible. Obviously, I can do that on my laptop because I have a very high-end machine, but that suddenly makes the console market a whole new ballgame. Think of, obviously, Crysis is probably the best-looking shooter I've ever seen, so I can't think of anything that would compare to it. But that game on a flat screen right now, it looks really good, but it's not DirectX 11. It would. I wish I could find the video. Total Biscuit did a video of showing Crysis 2 originally in DirectX 10, and then again in DirectX 11 side by side, and the difference is amazing. You didn't think it would be that big, but it is. And with Crytek saying, we're going to do that, we're going to make that on the console, it's not only are they taking on this monumental task, they're essentially becoming pioneers in this market. It's I'm so ridiculous. I have a PS3. And I will probably get Crysis 3 on my PC just because my TV is terrible, and I would rather play that in an HD format. But if I suddenly had a good TV, I might pick that up for PS3 first if they are able to pull it off. Because there are some games that I just prefer to have a pad for, and Crysis is a bit of a difficult shooter, and I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of shooters, although they are infinitely better to play on PC in terms of how accurate you can be. But man, just
man,
go Crytek.
Whoa.
They are really pushing it. I have to say, in the graphics department anyway. And this is where I feel just we can't push it this much further because it looks ridiculous. It looks phenomenal, and I'm just feeling that obviously these consoles are going to push these graphics as far as they can, the PS4 and 720. But I think what a lot of the power is going to go towards is improving AI, just making much better AI, things like that, improving draw distance, just things that don't specifically concentrate on graphics, but more just concentrate on improving the overall video game experience, I guess.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, if I'm going to use your Minecraft as an example. When you do Minecraft, you have to play at tiny render distance. And
I have to play at horrible settings because my laptop can't handle it. I have to play on the lowest render distance, turn off all the flashy crap, because obviously I have to record with Camtasia, and that makes it lag even more. So it's a pretty horrible experience for me. Pretty bad.
I run that shit on max graphics. There's a huge difference. And I think that those are the kind of upgrades you're going to have to do going from the PS3 to the PS4. Yeah, you'll be able to just make everything use DirectX 11 or potentially up to DirectX 12 if that kind of technology comes out at that point. But again, yes, the jump from 10 to 11 shows a huge difference, but at the same time, the game already looked pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
You can't just go from godly good to godlier gooder.
Or can you?
I'm sure they'll find a way to do it. I mean, The Last of Us, I believe it's called, from Naughty Dog.
The Last of Us,
I
yeah.
think it's the only game I've ever seen that compares to Crysis 2's graphics right now, and I think it's a little bit better, and that's assuming that they actually managed to pull that off for the entire game.
I'm sure
2 has
well.
fantastic graphics the entire way through.
Mm-hmm.
You guys saw
The Last of Us looked phenomenal, and we know what Naughty Dog can do from the Uncharted games, and they really know the PS3 well at this point, so I'm sure they can push it that far.
Well, they knew the PS3 before everybody else did.
Oh, they did, but at this point they've had so much experience, and what they pulled out with Uncharted 3 was absolutely ridiculous. So that at this point, I think that they can push it even further. I think they have the capacity to do so.
Speaking
we'll
of Uncharted, and I think that a lot of people might find this interesting. I found this on Reddit a while ago, and I'll put it in the link when I upload the VOD. And I showed it to Fizz. Somebody actually went out, played all 3 games.
Oh yeah.
And they turned all 3 games into physical movies. They just went cutscene to cutscene, and there is a little bit of gameplay footage to kind of make sure there's no plot holes, but the absolute minimum amount of gameplay footage to get from cutscene to cutscene, it's phenomenal that these games can just actually be played as a movie. And they look really good. If you are interested in learning about the games without actually playing them, perfect way to do it, because you learn the entire game. Each one is about 2 hours, so they're full movies based off of 20 hours of gameplay. It's awesome. Kudos to this guy for having not only the idea but the capabilities of doing this. That is a lot of work that goes in. And I watched the first one and the second one because I played those games. Haven't played Uncharted 3 yet, so I didn't watch that one.
Yeah.
But
no, I was seeing online just the straight cutscenes, and it was like an hour and a half of cutscenes. And the problem with that is obviously you miss the gameplay elements that kind of help that transition between each of them. So there is a little bit of a gap in it. You can follow it if you just do cutscene to cutscene, but this sounds really awesome that you're using the gameplay elements as well to help it run along a bit more smoothly. And make it an actual sort of a real movie, which is pretty phenomenal.
Like I said, I will link this in the video on demand. I'll probably post a link on my Twitter as well, and if you don't know my Twitter already, you'll hear it at the end of the show.
Yes.
Yep. So there you
go.
go.
Then if you don't see it on mine, I'm pretty sure that the 2 guys that I do this little podcast with will retweet it.
Yeah.
Yes, sure. We will do. Indeed.
Absolutely.
So
speaking of retweeting...
No. No! Stop! God damn it! Stop!
The segues.
I don't know how I'm gonna make this one work.
You can't do it.
Speaking of retweeting, you know what is a problem? I got it. You know what is a problem? Someone repeating the same idea that someone else had.
No.
You guys.
No.
Fine. Just tell them about Ubisoft.
Okay. So right now there is a lawsuit going on, and it's not the first lawsuit in terms of video games. You guys probably remember the Bethesda 2-notch lawsuit
Yes, I do.
Scrolls, but there is an author who put out a book, and he is suing Ubisoft because he believes that they stole his idea, and obviously the idea is about Assassin's Creed, where his idea is, let's see if I can find it, it actually talks about the conception and creation of a link device and process whereby ancestral memories can be accessed, recalled, relived, and re-experienced by the users. So Assassin's Creed, that's the Animus, is kind of the big plot spoiler from the games. But when the trailers came out, you just thought you were playing in the past. Game came out, and the big spoiler is right at the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy is saying, no, I wrote a book, and it's called Link. The book's called Link. It's been on Amazon for quite a while. I'm going to try and pull it up here, exactly how long it's been out. And he's saying, this is my idea. And the book came out in 2003, so that came out 4 years before Assassin's Creed. So there's a potential there that Ubisoft, or not just Ubisoft, Gameloft, and all of the people who were behind Assassin's Creed kind of stole the idea. But at the same time, why do you wait this long? Assassin's Creed 1 came out in 2007. That's 5 years ago. They have released Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed 2.5, Assassin's Creed 2 3/4. They've released a lot of games, all using this same system. You would think that
you would think he would have caught on a little bit earlier.
So I don't know. I also don't think it's this super incredible idea that's never going to be used before or again.
Yeah.
So I don't believe this lawsuit will go the distance. Obviously, this guy is passionate enough in his book, and I would too. If I wrote a book and somebody
that's your
put out
baby.
something,
If you write a book, that's your baby.
Yeah, and I believe that's that guy's only book.
Yeah.
So well, it's not a bad thing. Guy's a published author. Kudos to him.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
When you think about it, it's 5 years. That's a long time to not notice this. If this lawsuit came out when Assassin's Creed 1 was just released, I think that the guy might have some basis. But now it's, like I said, 4 games in the series. Assassin's Creed 3 is already done. There's already all of these side games from the different consoles. Like the PSP had some games. The PS Vita obviously has its own stuff too. Now you're dealing with a successful franchise in Assassin's Creed coming from Ubisoft, and you're just, I don't know. I don't think you can win that one. If so, he goes to him, but I think that they'll just give him money. They're not going to shut down Assassin's Creed.
No.
Well, the possibility is that this guy who wrote the book, maybe he's not a gamer. Maybe he doesn't have a link into the gaming community. Ha, pun.
Yeah.
But it's possible that it just came to his attention via
it is very possible
a
because
reader or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously has no idea about video games or anything because he would have picked up on this earlier. He's clearly never played an Assassin's Creed, and he's clearly going off knowledge from other people who've just brought it to his attention at some time like now, because he could have gone his whole life and never played an Assassin's Creed game, never read anything about it, and no one ever tell him anything about it, and just not been bothered by it in any way. But just because he has a tiny little bit of knowledge, it's a big deal.
Patent Arcade, which actually posted the lawsuit,
right?
They make a great point. Yes, Beisfinger, however you pronounce his name, the author, he does copyright the book and kind of the ideas involved. But does Assassin's Creed use the idea of this device, or do they go too far and copy the entire expression that this guy copyrighted? If they're just using the idea, there's no lawsuit, there's nothing, there's no case. But if they are stealing the expression and basically copy-pasting this from this guy's book, yes, now he has a case, now he can make money, and Ubisoft might actually be forced to either change their game in the future, or Assassin's Creed 3 could essentially be the last game, because now you're dealing with true copyrighted infringement instead of I had this idea first, you stole it.
Yeah. I think the most you'll see here, and you'll probably never hear about it, is they'll probably settle out of court, and the guy will make a decent amount of change.
Well,
probably.
If the guy is passionate enough and if he believes he has a case, I don't think he'll just take a settlement. But he's got to know he's going to win, and
yeah.
And I don't think he physically can, because if he physically knows he's going to win, he's a lawyer. He's not an author, and he's the best lawyer in the world. This guy, I want him for everything. But
Mm.
again,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't know if this will go too far. It'll probably be something we'll hear about at some point in the future, either here or if I might miss it. I kind of check Reddit every few days to see what's in the news, so
Mm-hmm.
I kind of give our guys an idea of what we can talk about, because usually we're just kind of scrambling around last minute.
Usually, how about always?
You're not even always here, so you don't get to say anything.
Yeah.
I'm here most of the
But
time.
let's be honest.
I'm officially
let's
here
be
most
honest.
of the time. Yes.
Yeah. Let's be honest here, guys. I mean, his name's called his name. His book is called Link. I'm pretty sure Nintendo has a case there and sue his sorry
they
ass.
don't.
I mean, come on, Link.
The character's name
Seriously.
is Link. He doesn't go around in a green hat and a green suit trying to find the Master Sword and the Trinity.
You don't know that. You haven't read the book.
Yeah,
You don't know that.
You didn't read
You
it.
don't know that.
No,
Don't act like you know
the
things
word
now.
Link, the title, it based off what I've seen of the book, is actually about linking to the past with your ancestors and reliving, which is
Sure.
the concept of Assassin's Creed. Oh, okay.
Sure.
He's got to
Okay.
He's got to go find an ocarina to master the Song of Storms, so he can
An
come back in
ocarina?
7 years and.
An ocarina. Okay. Cool. Okay. Awesome. Right.
I don't
sure.
have a segue, so you guys just have to move on.
You didn't have a segue 4 segues ago. That didn't seem to stop you. You're like Nick and his puns. You just keep going.
Speaking of keep going, let's take some calls.
No. There's one more thing that we should touch on quickly. There was a leaked trailer for Rayman Legends, which is the follow-up to the critically acclaimed Rayman Origins, which everyone seemed to love so dearly. It came out, and the problem with it is that it has lots of features specific to the Wii U. And Nintendo obviously like to keep a tight lid on these sort of things, but the trailer leaked with Wii U specific features being within it, and we can see a few of them in that thing. So essentially, not too much interesting about it. The most interesting thing, aside from using the touch screen to do co-op stuff, was the NFC technology, which, if you are unfamiliar with that phrase, is near-field communication, and it essentially uses chips inside of objects or toys to interact with the game world and to change things within the game world. So
the new Spyro game on the
Skylanders.
Skylanders, is it?
Skylanders on the Wii and on 3DS and on whatever fucking system you own uses this system, which is like the greatest business model of all time ever, because it combines toys with video games, and children love both those things. So hey, how about let's spend lots of money on both of them?
Fuck you, adults love both
that
those
you're
things.
wrong, by the way. You're definitely wrong.
Really?
The NFC stands for the National Football Conference. The New York Giants are part of that. They're the world champions in football right now.
Okay. I'm sorry that I was so wrong about such a depressing matter. But they basically showed in the trailer this like toy heart, and you basically take the heart, put it on the tablet controller, and suddenly in game all these hearts start coming down. You get more health. And they had like a rabbit, one of the rabbids from the Rayman Raving Rabbids games, put that on the controller, and suddenly rabbids appear in the game. And then they do this tease at the end. They just fucking tease it, but they have like Ezio or one of the assassins, like a figure of them.
It's definitely
and
Ezio.
the guy grabs the figure, and then the trailer ends. So we don't know. Maybe we're gonna get some Assassin's Creed cross Rayman. Who knows? Or maybe they're just teasing the fact that Assassin's Creed 3 on the Wii U will use NFC technology for some weird reason. I don't know why they would, but maybe they are using it.
I just want to point out
Nintendo.
that Nintendo did the worst thing ever by showing the people playing the game.
Oh yes. Oh my god, that was horrible.
They either faked it to the point where you could tell that they were faking it, or there was a couple people that actually just looked bored.
There are just some horrible acting in there as well. But
like the girl with the what's the controller with the screen in it called?
The tablet?
Is that what it's okay? The
We'll
girl
call
with
it
the
a tablet.
tablet looks so she's like so excited, but she's just sliding her finger up like barely, and she's like, "Yeah, best thing ever."
Yeah, I know.
So
I think
bad.
that Nintendo. I doubt Nintendo was in charge of this advertising campaign. I think it's probably down to the developer of Rayman Legends.
I guarantee you it was Nintendo. They're like the corny stuff.
They do, but I don't think. Well, maybe they were involved. They probably were, to be honest, actually, because it's Wii U and they just cover their asses.
Well,
when it comes.
they'd have to be involved for the Wii U, because I guarantee you the PC release, and there will be a PC release of Rayman Legends, will be a little different. And if they're focusing in on Rayman Legends is going to be on the Wii U instead of, hey, look, Rayman Legends, even though Rayman Origins just kind of came out.
Yeah, true. So it was pretty bad acting and pretty bad. Didn't sell it very well, but still, we
but
got
if you
some.
played Rayman Origins, it's all the selling you need. I love the Rayman series. I thought it was fantastic platformer back in the day. Haven't had a chance to play Rayman Origins, but I will at some point.
Mm-hmm. I'm definitely intending to play Origins on the Vita. I want to get a Vita when they decide to drop the price, which they will do. They have to, because they are bleeding money from it right now, and they have to find some way to sell the goddamn thing. So I'm definitely sure they will price drop the Vita, and when that happens, I'll be on that like a shot. Get Rayman Origins, get Golden Abyss, and that'll be what I do. So there you go.
The only way I'll ever get a Vita is if Sony pays me to have a Vita.
Well, if you get a job at Sony Entertainment, they probably will.
Exactly,
Probably will.
dude. They need me.
Oh dear.
I'm sure they already
You
have
hear
enough.
that, Sony?
Yeah,
As
because
if they watch
Sony
your
watches our
channel.
podcast.
Yeah, they do. So
Yeah, they do.
they do if they know it's good for them. That's a threat.
Anyway, I think that's enough for the news. We have been away for 2 weeks, so we did kind of have a lot.
Yeah, we
That
did.
was a lot of that.
We're not going to take too many calls today. We have kind of been going on for 2 hours already. So we'll take
just a couple. You know,
Just a
few.
couple. So add McBoss on Skype, and we'll get a couple of calls in, and we'll finish off after that. So there you
Ask your questions. Anything video game related.
2 more hours. No 2 more hours.
No.
Fuck.
To be fair, we're starting a lot earlier than we normally do. We usually don't start for an hour.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
great. I kind of like it this way. It's nice.
Yeah, this is the guy who doesn't have to wake up to do this shit.
Hey, I did. I woke up at 10.
You had to wake up earlier than you. Let's
I
be
woke up
honest
at
here.
10.
If I had to
dickhead.
wake up at 10, I would have slept for about 3 hours. It would never work.
Oh dear.
I'd be like, screw you guys, I'm doing my own podcast solo.
Crazy.
Except I'm keeping the name.
Keeping the copyrights. You do that. Okay. Have we got anyone
You'd have
on the
to find
line?
another 1.5 gamers. Good luck.
Oh shit.
I wouldn't. I would just do 3 different voices. I would pretend to be you guys. It's easy to emulate. All I have to say is, really though? Fuck you, expert. Really though? I'll tell you that much for free.
Oh my god! I said that so much in my last video. I have no idea why I said that so much. Fuck me. That was bad. I said it like 6 separate times. And then the top comment is like, "So what won't you tell us for free?" I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, what do I gotta pay for? What is this knowledge that you're withholding?
This knowledge that I'm dropping on you for free. I don't think anyone's added McBoss yet, so you have to add him on Skype and type your question to him.
How has Nagi not asked the question 7 times
Yeah,
yet?
where the fuck's Nagi? And if McBoss finds your question suitable, then he'll add you to the call and you can ask us it.
Yes.
If no one wants to call in, I'll look at Steve-O. Hi Steve-O. If no one calls in, then hey, that's what happens.
Oh,
And then we'll just
Steve-O.
end it.
Hi, Steve-O.
Hey, look, it is Steve-O.
Yeah.
Hi.
Oh, look.
Oh, God.
Yes,
Too
it's me.
soon.
Hi.
Oh.
Freaking Nagi.
Hit us with your rhythm stick. What's your question, buddy?
Okay. Well, what do you think is going to be a main centerpiece of E3 other than the Wii U?
Okay.
It's actually a really good question.
Yeah.
I'm actually
Change.
shocked.
I think that Wii U is definitely obviously the main thing because
Yeah,
there's no
but other than Nintendo stuff, what's going to be really important in E3?
I think that Microsoft not having a shitty Disney Connect-driven conference is going to be important. That was a train wreck last year, and it was just a pure embarrassment. It was terrible. I'd be interested to see if Microsoft have any kind of exclusives they have up their sleeves, because, to be honest, they haven't had anything. Yeah, obviously Halo 4 is going to be present, but
Right.
other than that, what else are Microsoft going to have? I'd be interested to see how much more they're going to be pushing Connect, whether they're going to announce...
DBZ, let's go!
I doubt they're going to announce anything about the 720. They pretty much said outright that they won't. They could pull a fast one on us and be like, "Oh yeah, here's the 720," and la la la. But I doubt that will happen. So I'm wondering what they're going to
could do is put a giant ball on their Xbox and call it the PlayStation Move Xbox 360 attachment.
Yes, that would make perfect sense.
Because, you know, Sony's
Why
really
not?
pushing their PlayStation Move.
Yeah.
Dinner.
Yeah. I'm excited to see more stuff
And-
on. Sorry.
And like for Sony, obviously the main thing for them is probably just going to be the Smash Bros thing.
Yeah.
That and also The Last of Us. I think The Last of Us is going to
think
be
The
a
Last
I
of
have
Us
not
are
seen what that is actually. What is it?
It is a fantastic looking trailer that is allegedly 100% in game, and it is the best looking game you'll ever see.
Yeah. So basically, The Last of Us is a post-apocalyptic kind of story game, as Naughty Dog like to do with their games, as we've seen in Uncharted. Very, very cinematic, very story-driven, but based in a very different setting to what Uncharted is based in. You know, it's about virus infecting people.
Is there still like giant blue gorillas with crossbows on?
Not quite. More
No.
like,
But one of the main characters is Ellen Page.
yeah.
And if you've seen the
Oh,
trailer, you
winner.
know that it's like the most ridiculous lookalike thing ever.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure that was intentional, because a lot of what they do at Naughty Dog in terms of their acting with their voice actors is very physical. They use motion capture to do all their acting. They did it for all the Uncharted games, I believe, and it's just a much more physical performance. So it makes sense that they would take the likeness of the actor.
But
So-
is it Ellen Page that does the voice acting?
I don't know. I
I'm
don't
gonna look
even
this
know.
up right now.
I have no idea.
How do you not
What
know?
would you guys-
You've seen the trailer. Like,
What would you guys think of
I
the
don't
Ubisoft
remember
conference?
what she sounds like in the show. I don't think she is.
Mm-hmm. What do you
Yeah,
say, Nagi?
What would you guys think will be revealed in the Ubisoft conference, if anything?
Shitty games and Assassin's Creed 3.
yeah.
Like,
Probably.
Ubisoft have, apart from Assassin's Creed, every other game they produce is pretty shitty, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think that they'll have too much. There was that demo for the Wii U last year, Killer Freaks from Outer Space, which seemed pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure that's an Ubisoft title. They'll probably have a bit more information on that. I'll wonder what they're going to do about that and see if they'll...
Rayman Legends. Duh.
Yeah, Rayman Legends will obviously be cropping up. That'll be cool. But otherwise, I don't think...
I'm thinking we might.
They did Ghost. They're doing Ghost Recon. They've got Far Cry. They're doing Beyond Good and Evil 2. Are you kidding me? Tell me they did bad
Okay.
games.
That would be cool, yeah.
Dare you?
I'd
say
like
they
to
did bad
see
games.
some
They did
Resident
Driver
Evil
San
6 stuff.
Francisco. They did Heroes of Might and Magic 6. Like, how are you saying they're bad?
Yeah.
They
I'd
did
like to see,
Forgotten Sands.
I'd like to see Activision deny any support for the Wii U, because that'd just be hilarious.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
It's Activision.
Yeah, Activision of dicks.
But
I'd like to
to
see
answer your
some,
question, I think for things that... What was the question again? Things that we're excited for at E3 or things that need to happen?
Excited, except for the Nintendo stuff, or need to happen.
Yeah.
You know what needs to happen? They need to announce the Kingdom Hearts release in HD for the PS3. That's
They need to announce.
That's what
freaking
needs to
Versus-
happen.
They
But
need to announce the Versus 13 release date.
I don't give a
Oh,
shit.
that's been held back so much, that game.
I don't
so
give
much.
I don't
6
care
plus
about
years,
Versus
dude.
13 as much as I care about Kingdom Hearts because I want to play those games again, but I can't.
Mm-hmm.
And I have them. They're sitting in my drawer, and they're saying,
Oh,
"Play me."
also, there needs to be some kind of news on The Last Guardian, because that's been like 7 years since that was announced. I have no idea what's happening with The Last Guardian, but like everyone from that company is leaving, so it doesn't look very
There needs
hot,
to be
to
some
be
news
honest.
on the
Well,
fourth.
I'll tell you what I'd like to see is I'd like to see some stuff from Resident Evil 6, Most Def.
I
I'm
call
sure
it
there will be stuff
I would
about
just like to
Animal
see a
Crossing.
bunch of cosplay, quite frankly, because this feeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I really don't know what to expect from E3 aside from Wii U, pretty much.
Mm.
I don't know what I'm expecting. I feel like I'm gonna be surprised for the first time in a long time, or I'll be let down.
Yeah.
It just
Probably
I
from
feel
Microsoft.
like might happen.
Probably from Microsoft mainly.
Yeah. If I have to watch like a whole show about Connect again, I'll cry.
Yeah, first we did first Disneyland, now Six Flags on Connect.
Oh.
Now Fable on rails magic shooter. Woo.
Yeah. We're gonna do a Halo game for Connect, and it's just gonna be a rail shooter with not Master
Halo Dawn
Chief.
Central. Halo
And
Dawn
then
Central.
watch 2 years from now. Yeah, hey, be a director with James Cameron on Connect.
Oh god.
Be a director. Just imagine standing there and pointing. Be a director. What a game.
And the big twist at the end, it's not actually James Cameron. You did
It's
M. Night Shyamalan.
Ding ding and yeah.
No, it's Uwe Boll. That's what it is. It's Uwe Boll.
UA Ball.
Oh no! UA Boll did the whatchamacallit.
He did everything wrong in the world.
The Jason Statham in the Name of the King.
No,
I can't remember what
probably his
franchise that
worst-
was based
no,
off,
no,
and it
like-
was terrible.
Probably his worst film of all time is Alone in the Dark. His worst film.
Mm-hmm.
That was the Dungeon Siege game. That's what it was. But with DLC for Michael Bay, there'd be nothing to DLC. You would download explosions
Basically.
because Michael Bay is all style, no substance.
Yeah.
Indeed.
He's up
Should
there.
make a video game though. Let's face it.
No, he shouldn't.
The Michael Bay game.
It would sell so good.
No, it wouldn't.
It would though.
He just crushed dreams. He would crush
I know. I know. It would be bad for like the community as a whole, but I'm just saying, like, dude could make a lot of money.
He could do.
Michael Bay, hire me, bro. Let's go.
And then 1 year from that, hey, go to school on your Connect.
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Really?
I highly think that doesn't make sense, but I think this will happen in the Connect will be an integral part of the 720. They'll just build it in at this point. I think it makes sense to just have it as a part of the system instead of an add-on this time. It'll probably just be built into the thing, but we'll see how that goes. But otherwise, I can't really think of anything from E3 that I'm that hyped for. Maybe some new 3DS stuff. I'm not quite sure what if they have anything new to announce.
There needs to be a Golden Sun 4 because Dark Dawn had the craziest cliffhanger.
Did it? I haven't got to the end of that game yet.
It's one of the most right in your face cliffhangers that you forget about very, very early in the game.
I'm pretty sure that they'll follow up with that. Then they probably will do. That'd be pretty cool. I'd like to see that. Yeah, I just generally like to see a sprawling RPG on the 3DS.
Kingdom Hearts 3 release it.
Well, there is the Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance coming out, which I've heard is very good. And
No, I don't give a shit about the 3DS. I want the official Kingdom Hearts 3 on the
really
PS3.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
What's
I
gonna
want
be really
it now.
dumb at E3? That one music Final Fantasy game. That
Theatrhythm.
game for
I've heard some good things about Theatrhythm actually.
Really?
It's selling hotcakes in Japan. It has DLC and everything, and it's like the first Nintendo game to ever have DLC.
Well,
That's selling really well. It's just
like to
people
point out
really
there,
like.
Zed, just like to point out,
Mhm.
dancing in Japan always does well. Go to an arcade, there's a lineup 3 blocks away to play Dance Dance Revolution.
It's not
Hey,
a dancing game.
Fiber,
It's just a rhythm.
that game is
just
fun.
A rhythm based.
DDR
It's
is really
The
fun.
point is, you have dancing plus Japan. It's gonna sell well.
It's not a dancing game. It's a rhythm game. But yes, it's the same sort of ideal where they do love those kind of.
Telling me
those kind
there aren't people dancing to that in the streets in Japan?
But the thing that it does is it combines two things that the Japanese love, which is rhythm games and Final Fantasy, which is just pretty much gold. There's also a lot of cachet in the West because loads of Final Fantasy fans over here. So I think it's going to do
what
well.
would just put
I
that
bet
over
you
the
it
top in
flops.
Japan? You want to know what would put that over the top in Japan? Just way over the top?
Put a Pikachu
Well,
in
A
it.
rhythm game where you play Final Fantasy characters and you're hunting monsters.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Boom!
yeah. There you go.
$1 billion
Got him.
right there.
Done.
Dude,
Everyone
Japan
go
should
home.
just hire you.
Just the country should just hire you.
Yeah.
Done. Makes sense. Yeah, I'm kind of interested in it. I'm more interested in Rhythm Thief, which is the other big rhythm game coming out of Japan. I think that's already out in the Western territories, but I'll probably pick that up at some point for a decent price. That seems like much more down my alley. I do love Final Fantasy music, but I just haven't played enough of the game to get that sort of same nostalgia hit that other people will from the series. So
Yeah.
There you go.
it's going to be interesting. But yeah.
Thanks for your
Pretty sure
question
that's it.
that we didn't answer
Yeah.
that well.
Also,
Yeah.
Fiverr, I have a question. For
I have
you.
an answer.
How's the shoutcast thing going?
I'm going to be talking about that later.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, thanks,
Thanks,
Nagi.
Nagi.
Hey, you're welcome. See ya.
Okay. That was good.
Was good.
Alright, so good. I don't know
We
if we
have
have.
one more person.
Yeah.
Anybody at all? No, McBoss says there's nobody.
Okay.
So that'll be it. We have kind of been going on for 2.5
Yeah.
hours, so let us say our goodbyes.
Aw.
Plug yourselves. Do it.
Peter.
Last notes. Anything from either of you? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Nubs. Ladies first.
Oh wow. Okay. So on my channel this week, more face locking action. Face lock to the max. Yeah, that'll be fun. Stuff like that. And I don't know what else I'll do. I've been thinking about just recording random footage from my Wii, just like some Mario Party 4 for no reason whatsoever, and just
When are you gonna do your Super Mario Brothers 3 LP?
oh, that'll happen. That's gonna happen sometime, not for the foreseeable future, but it will happen. My rage against the Mario
That is
Brothers.
true Rage Against the Machine.
Yes.
It is truly Rage Against the Machine. We'll see some there, but otherwise nothing too interesting on my channel. Just the standard fare. Twitter at NBZ, that is ENNBEEZED, and on Facebook /LordNBZ. Follow and like me respectively.
Okay. So, I brought back a fan favorite thing I was doing on my channel called Konami Code NL. It is me.
By
It's like a
fan
vlogging.
favorite, you mean me? Just
I
telling you
mean
to do
Jake
it?
telling me to do it every week since I did the first episode.
Because nobody remembers that channel. You only
No
did
one
one
remembers
video.
that channel. I had like 200 subs or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, point is, I brought it back to my channel, and it's pretty much just a vlog about all things nerdy, games, movies, comics, etc. And you could expect a episode coming soon after, I'd say, probably sometime the first week of May after Avengers comes out, because I'm going to go see that at midnight when I'm able to. And, other than that, I'd love to do other things like Xbox and PS3 stuff, but I has no computer or internet to do it in a timely fashion, so probably not that. But Konami Code NL for you video game lovers, Pokemon stuff for you Pokemon lovers, TCG stuff as always. I'm saving up money to go to nationals, to play in nationals with people from the internet, and you could follow me on Twitter at elfizz, that's ELFIZZ, or Facebook /FizzStardust, and then YouTube /FizzStardust, and Jake.
All right.
Finger gun.
So I kind of have a few things going on this week. I'm gonna probably finish off my Diablo 3 beta footage this week. Like I said early on, it's recorded. I have it in 4 parts right now, and the first 2 are already up. So if you're interested in Diablo 3, you can go check those out. It's kind of just live commentary with my friends. We kind of have OCD when we play OCD, ADHD. We have a lot. We have so many things going on. But there's that. But the thing that I really want to plug for right now is IGN is doing a contest right now. They are looking for shoutcasters for IPL 5, IGN Pro League 5, the qualifiers for the League of Legends tournament. Because apparently they are claiming this is going to be the biggest esports for League of Legends to date. And as somebody who really enjoys not just the game, but wants to get involved in shoutcasting in some way, I entered this contest. It's a 2-part thing. They're the last 2 videos on my channel right now. There is a champion selection process and then an actual pro game. So it would mean a lot to me if you guys could go throw a thumbs up on that, because if there's a lot of positive response from that, I have a higher chance of getting picked. Would really love to do that. But other than that, I've got my, like I said, Diablo 3 coming out this week. Do I have anything else recorded that's ready to go? I was going to do Minecraft the other day, but it was screwed up so bad that I couldn't upload it, so I might do one of those this week, but it's skipping a little bit. Other than that, I may or may not do Beyond the Podcast. I have some changes that are going on with that I'm trying to figure out, but eventually it's going to be good, is all I can say. I have some really good ideas for the changes in that. And other than that, YouTube.com, HighEndFiber21, Twitch, or not Twitch. Well, I guess you can say Twitch. I do plan on doing some streaming, not today. Originally going to be today, but these 2 are like, can we do the podcast Sunday?
I wasn't. Fizz was.
No,
So
you brought Sunday up. So
yeah,
I
you brought Sunday up.
You brought Sunday up.
I didn't bring Sunday up.
Not you. Fuck you.
You did.
No, I didn't. I brought it up.
You said Sunday to me. I said Sunday to Fizz.
I said Saturday to you.
See?
I prefer Saturday.
You said Sunday to me, so I was like, okay, I'll make Sunday happen. Because I worked it out.
Okay.
Anyway, I will probably be streaming. I haven't decided if I'm going to do it here on Twitch or on Ode3D. We'll see how I feel. Depends on when I'm streaming. And then, of course, Twitter.com, HighEndFiber. If you're interested in seeing those Uncharted videos, you can check them out on my Twitter. And like I said, I'm sure these 2 guys will retweet it anyway. So if you're following either of them, you will find them. Other than that, I got nothing going on this week. I don't know when we'll do another one of these things here. It depends on schedules. Might be next week. It might be the week after. We'll just have to wait and see.
It's all a mystery.
But I don't think there are any other closing thoughts.
Nope.
Alrighty. Thank you guys for showing up. Video on demand will be out sometime later this week, as well as the podcast on iTunes. My name's HighEndFiber. The little one is Fizzy. The Altaria one is Zed. And we are riding off into the sunset. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bum bum para para bum 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 para para bum 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 dun 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 use this as outtakes. That'll be good.